Okay, we're just about to begin recording.
Sebastian has a problem. He couldn't hear anything. I've just written to him saying he could restart his room.
Okay, thank you. We're starting now, and that's recorded. Okay, welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be your host today. It's a presentation of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Public Teachings in English. And today we have some alternate languages we're going to be working with. Specifically, we have a presentation in, I believe it will be in German, and we're going to have a translation. It's having to do with ganses. And let me just get, it'll be from Richard Lawrence. And let me bring in Dan and Brett here so they can participate as panelists as well. All right, I think we're ready to begin here. Let me see. I guess I will ask Richard, are you ready to go with your presentation? Would you like to begin?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So you want me to show your videos? Is that the idea?
To begin,
we have a translator.
Process CO2 from year 70.
70. I'm not clear on what you were saying there. We do have a translator, Richard. Nikolai should be able to translate from the German to English for us.
Okay.
Give that a try.
Ich würde beginnen vom 12.1917, vom Dezember 1917. Das war mein erster Prozess vom CO2 oder erster Prozess mit Wasserstoff.
Are you able to speak there, Nikolai? I see your microphone is open, but...
maybe jemand speak Polish und English. I can German and Polish.
Okay, I'm not sure if Nikolai might be having trouble with his microphone or something there. I see he has his hand up, and I can unmute you, but that's not even working. So you have to unmute yourself, Nikolai, and you have to have your microphone hooked up in Zoom. Yeah, mic issue. I see. Okay. Sebastian says he can translate. Okay. Can you talk there? He just needs a second. Okay. Thank you, Sebastian. So just a minute, Richard, and we'll have a translator here.
Okay.
Okay, I think Nikolai is coming back in to. Maybe he's back again. Okay, well, we'll give Sebastian another couple of minutes here, and we should be ready to go. Does anybody else have something that they want to present today after Richard's presentation? Don't all speak at once now. Okay, we'll wing it as we go, as usual. And there's always good things that show up. I have a demonstration that you can hear in the background. That just gives you a hint what it is. It's not a slinky.
Sounds like aluminum foil.
Nope. That was a big hint. You hear that one? Okay, that's all the hints you get.
Like a thin chain on some type of foil, but
It's a good wild guess, but nowhere close. It's something I've shown recently, but I've discovered something special about these particular items lately. So hire a microphone. Nikolai, we're hearing your microphone there.
How about now?
Yes, we hear a voice.
Okay, that's interesting. I just had to unplug and replug the headphones.
Well, there you go.
Very simple.
We have Sebastian as well that's volunteered to help. He says he's ready now as a translator. So maybe between the two of you, we should be able to have a good translation here. Not sure.
Very good. Thank you. I would be happy to assist for the first portion. It is now about 11:30 p.m. for me. So if Sebastian wants to carry on after I'm ready for bed, that would be great.
Okay, we could do it that way. And okay, Richard, do you want to go ahead there?
Okay. Im Jahre 2017, ich habe angefangen Versuche mit Wasserstoff und Ganzen. Und
okay, Richard, ich möchte, dass Sie ein bisschen langsamer sprechen und einfach nicht so lang sprechen, damit ich auf Englisch sagen kann.
Kurze Sätze.
Yes, genau.
Okay. Dieser Versuch wurde im Jahr 2017 durchgeführt mit Wasserstoff.
Okay, this exercise was done in 2017 with Wasserstoff. Weiß ich nicht auf Englisch.
Das ist H2.
Hydrogen.
With hydrogen gas or hydrogen gas?
Gas.
Okay. Is this part of your videos? Should I be showing one of them now?
Yes.
Okay, which one was best to start with?
Es heißt Prozess CO2 bis B.
Okay, it's called Process CO2. Und das letzte habe ich nicht.
Weil ich habe geschrieben bis, weil Ende war nicht abzusehen.
think I've got it here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll share. There's no audio with these, is there? Can you ask her?
Gibt es ein bisschen Audio in den Clips oder ist es nur Video?
Da sind Bilder, denke ich mir, ein Video und 3 mit Bildern.
Okay, there are 3 pictures and 1 with video.
I meant the sound part, whether I should. It's okay. We'll wing it. Okay,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let me share that. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to come through as a video or a picture, so let me know if it's blurry. It should come through clear. If it's blurry, then I'll put it back to picture.
It's okay, das ist der Anfang.
This is the beginning.
Okay.
Ich habe ganz CO2 genommen.
He took the CO2 or the GANs of CO2.
Ungefähr 1,2 Liter.
Approximately 1.2 liters.
Die Elektroden war ein nano-gecoateter Kupferdraht in Form hatte besondere Form, diese Elektrode.
Okay, the electrodes were made out of copper wire and they had a specific shape.
Die andere Elektrode war aus Gold.
The other electrode was made out of gold.
Die Batteriokondensator hatte das elektrisch versorgt.
The battery condenser had this electricity absorbed.
Man sieht Schlauch auf dem Deckel zukommen oben.
We can see a wire or a hose coming from the top of the lid. It looks like on the far left.
Und dieser Schlauch steckte 3/4 in der Flüssigkeit.
And this hose goes about 3/4 of the way into the liquid.
Am anderen Ende im Moment nicht zu sehen, ist dieser Wasserstoff, sage ich, Reaktor oder Aggregat.
What is not visible in this photo is the other end, which is the hydrogen container or bottle.
Das wurde von einem Netzgerät angespeist.
Netzgerät kenne ich nicht.
Netzgerät ist so Stromversorger.
Okay. So there is a power supply that is connected to this, which is again not visible.
Strom wurde per eine Einheit Maggrav-Generator zu diesem Netzversorger geführt.
That was connected through a Maggrav power unit to supply the power.
Dieser Prozess hat gedauert ungefähr 3 Wochen.
This process took approximately 3 weeks.
Am Anfang geschah es, dass diese Ganzsubstanz stand, sage ich, Monate unverändert.
Okay, at the beginning, the GANs process seemed to stay unchanged for wie lang?
Ziemlich schnell hat sich ein Teil in klare Flüssigkeit verwandelt.
Okay, and fairly quickly, a portion of this turned itself to a clear liquid.
Können wir Bild 2 sehen?
Can we see picture 2?
Hier sieht man schon, dass fast Hälfte des Ganzen wurde umgewandelt in, sage ich, Liquid Gas.
Okay, here we can see half of the liquid has turned itself, or half of the GANs has turned itself into a clear liquid.
Und man sieht, dass von oben fängt an, sich CO2 zu schwärzen.
Schwärzen als...
Das heißt, es verwandelt sich, verdunkelt es sich.
Ach so, okay. Können Sie den Satz nochmal sagen?
Man sieht am Gans unterschiedliche Farben in dunkel, also
Okay, we can see in the GANs different colors, and it seems to have darkened.
Dieser Prozess mit Flüssigkeit ging so weit, dass fast 3/4 wurde zu Flüssigkeit, zu klarer Flüssigkeit.
Okay, and this process, it seems that nearly 3/4 of the GAN solution changed to a liquid, clear liquid state.
Können wir nächste Bild sehen?
Next picture, please.
Hier sieht man deutlich das unterschiedliche Struktur am Gans und auch, dass bilden sich schon Farben an der Oberfläche.
Okay, here we can see that there is already a change of color, and it seems on the top of the layer that has changed quite evidently.
Können wir nächste Bild sehen?
Next photo, please.
Das ist die Anfangsphase mit Wasserstoffversorger.
This is the beginning stage with the hydrogen container being led into that pipe that we couldn't see earlier.
Ungefähr in der Mitte des Prozesses
Approximately in the middle of the process,
hatte sich im Wasserstoffaggregat
had from the hydrogen container
gebildet Substanz, so eine schaumige Substanz, und diese Substanz wanderte durch Schlauch in Behälter mit CO2.
Okay, a foamy liquid seemed to produce itself, and this went through the hose into the CO2 container.
Ich habe ein separates Video mit diesem Prozess, das hatte 2 Tage gedauert.
He has a separate video for this, which had taken approximately 2 days.
Und komisch oder merkwürdig war es, dass die Masse oder das hat sich nicht verändert in beiden Behältern. Es wurde durch Schlauch transportiert 2 Tage, aber Substanz vom Wesentlichen ist geblieben, von der Menge.
Okay, what was very interesting to note was that there was no loss between the system, that basically the weight was equivalent and it passed through the tube from one side to the other.
Können wir bitte nächste Bild?
Next picture, please.
Da sieht man, das ist die Phase, wenn sehr viel Flüssigkeit schon war. Und
here we can see the phase where there was already a lot of liquid present.
An der Stelle, wo Wasserstoff ausgetreten ist, man sieht in der Mitte Schlauch, so ein bisschen, nicht deutlich, aber...
Und der Schlauch hier kommt von dem Wasserstoffbehälter?
Schlauch kommt von Wasserstoff und an der Stelle, wo Schlauch ist, hat er sich schwarz gebildet. Da, wo Wasserstoff, man sieht, an der Stelle ist schwarzer Fleck.
Also genau in der Mitte, da wo der Schlauch...
In der Mitte, okay. Da wo Wasserstoff beginnt, der schwarze Prozess.
Okay, so as we can see, in the middle of the container is where the hose that comes in. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's there. It's the hose that comes from the hydrogen container, and that's where we can see that the color has already started to change and starting to go, I would say black, but it's hard to tell from this picture.
Ich musste nano-gecoatete Elektrode oft wechseln, weil in diesem Prozess Nanoschicht, sage ich, Partikel von Nano sind in diese Substanz gewandert.
Okay, he says he had to, at this point, change the electrodes fairly frequently, as he found that the nano substance that was on the electrodes themselves was quickly moving into the solution. Kann ich fragen, welche sind das die Kupfer oder das Gold?
Das waren Kupfer. Auf rechter Seite ist Kupfer und ich habe benutzt so eine Gutfälle. Gutfälle hat energetisch von sich schon gute Form.
Okay, so these electrodes that were being changed over were the copper ones, not the gold ones?
Nächste Bild bitte.
Next photo, please.
Da sehen wir, sage ich, nicht viel. Nächste Bild.
Not much to see here. Next photo.
Ja, und da sieht man, ich habe unterschiedliche Goldelemente als Goldelektrode. Es waren so, sage ich, Reste von Armband meiner Frau, altes Ring, und es waren mehrere Goldgegenstände, die habe ich zusammen als Goldelektrode benutzt.
Okay, so he used a various assortment of different types of gold, different bracelets or jewelry from his wife and from other places. They were all put together.
Und man sieht an diesem Bild diese Wasserstoffaggregat.
And we can see in this photo the container or the reservoir that holds the hydrogen. Das ist das mit dem auf der linken Seite?
Auf der linken Seite, ja.
Okay, that's the purple lidded container on the left-hand side.
Zurück, ich möchte Bild zurück.
Oh, go back, please. Yep.
Man sieht in diesem Wasserstoffaggregat, es hat sich gebildet auch unterschiedliche Schichten. An der oberen Stelle des Behälters.
Okay, what he had noticed was that there were several layers that became present in the hydrogen container. As you can see, that looks like there's a darker layer, then a lighter layer, then another darker layer, and then a foamy layer on top.
Es kam noch sowas Schaumiges dazu.
And something foamy came after.
Und dieses Schaumiges wanderte vom Behälter zum Behälter.
And the foaminess went from one container to the next container. It traveled.
Dazu habe ich ein separates Video, leider habe ich hier nicht beigefügt.
He says there is another video that he has that shows this, but unfortunately it is not in the ones that you have, Rick.
Man sieht noch im Hauptbehälter, dass auf der anderen Seite links ist noch Rest vom CO2, aber auf der anderen Seite hat sich schon viel Schwarz gebildet.
Okay, and we can see that there is a little bit of, or a fair bit of black that has built it into the CO2 container. Das ist auf die linken Seite mit dem roten Kopf, mit dem roten...
Auf der linken Seite, da wo der gelbe Strich ist, im hinteren Grund, sieht man mehr Schwarz sich schon bildet. Also ist große Umwandlung, also von der Masse hat Schwarz zugenommen.
Achso, meinen Sie denn auf der rechten Seite, nicht der linken Seite?
Ich meine Hauptbehälter mit ganz. Links ist so hell unten, aber oben sieht man im Hintergrund ist schon viel schwarz.
Okay, so the top container has already collected some of that dark matter into it.
Okay.
Or plasma.
Man muss dazu sagen, jeden Tag muss man schauen nach Elektroden oder auch nach dem Wasserstoff, weil diese Flüssigkeit ab und zu muss man wechseln.
Okay. He says you have to check every day to make sure that the electrodes are in good order, and to just upkeep and make sure that nothing has gone too far.
Next build, please.
Next photo.
Da sieht man schon, es fehlt leider ein Zwischenfoto. Da sieht man, das ist schon nach dem Prozess, als dieser Stoffwandel gegangen ist, und man sieht richtig 3 Schichten. Unten schwarz, gelblich in der Mitte und oben so schaumig oder bräunlich.
Okay, he says there is one photo which is unfortunately missing, which shows the in-between stages from the last photo we watched or saw and this one. But you can clearly see here that there are 3 distinct layers. The darkish black layer at the bottom, the yellow-colored one in the middle, and then the foamy orangey brown color that's resting on top.
Next, bitte.
Next photo.
Hier sieht man deutlich die Schichten. Das heißt, durch die Farben kann man erkennen, da passiert sehr viel in dem Behälter.
Okay, here we can see the 3 layers very clearly. and you can tell that there is lots of activity going on between the three layers.
Next Bild bitte.
Next photo, please.
Ich muss sagen, leider, die Fotos sind nicht chronologisch, weil diese Foto, was jetzt, soll schon früher erscheinen. Das war aus der Phase, als dieser Schaum da oder der gewandert. Man sieht noch flüssiger Stoff in der Mitte, aber Schaum bildet sich diese nach dem Prozess.
Okay, so this photo should have appeared earlier in the slideshow. It is showing again the process, likely what happened just prior to the one we saw previously. And as you can see, somewhere in the middle on the left-hand side, opposite where the pink wire is this kind of a, it looks like there's some kind of a liquid within the liquid that is moving, and it is of a different color. So it's off to the left there.
Next photo, please.
Next photo, please.
Und da sieht man schon deutlich die Farben, die am Endprozess gestanden sind, sind noch hell von sich, weil später wurden sie etwas deutlicher.
Okay, here we can see clearly that these layers have further established themselves, and however, this becomes more and more evident as the reaction or the experiment continues.
Ich habe damals gedacht, dass ich von CO2 CH3 bekommen habe.
At this stage, he thought that he had received or had created a CH3 out of a CO2.
Die Vermutung lag daran, weil CO2 hat Kohlenstoffatom und CH3 hat auch, und Wechsel Wasserstoff mit Sauerstoff ist von sich chemisch ganz einfach.
Okay, and he says here that this is based on his presumption that what has occurred is a change of hydrogen and oxygen in this exchange, and that this would be fairly easy or simple.
Und dieses Experiment habe ich geführt. Es ist mir nicht gelungen, Deuterium und Tritium nach Mr. Keshe Vorschrift zu bekommen. Und das hat mich inspiriert, sage ich, mit Wasserstoff zu machen.
Okay, das letzte habe ich nicht so klar
Okay.
verstanden.
Ich wiederhole. Inspiration für diese Versuche war Vorstellung von Meran Keshe, wie macht man Deuterium, Tritium. Ich habe damals...
Pause da. This experiment was... this experiment came to him out of an inspiration from Meran Keshe's explanation of deuterium and tritium.
Das ist mir nicht gelungen. Ich habe alles nach Vorschrift gemacht und nach 4 Wochen hatte ich kaum Ergebnisse.
And he didn't expect this, and he didn't know that he was going to have this result. And after 3 or 4 weeks, this is what has occurred.
Und deswegen habe ich versucht, das, was ich da gemacht habe.
And this is why he has attempted to do what has transpired.
Noch vielleicht als Gag, da sieht man auf der linken Seite auf dem Batteriekondensator liegt mein Goldring.
On the left-hand side, you can see on the plasma battery or condenser, there is a gold ring in the upper left-hand corner.
Und das ist gerade die Seite, wo die Goldelektrode war.
And this is the side where the gold electrode was.
Gold von sich ist nicht magnetisch.
Gold is not magnetic.
Als ich diese Ring in Bewegung brachte, dass es schaukelte.
And as he moved the container and it wobbled.
Der schaukelte minutenlang.
It wobbled for minutes. Sagen Sie, dass der Ring...
Der Ring oben hängt am Draht.
Ja,
und ich habe ihn in Schwung gebracht, also zum Schaukeln, also zum Bewegen. und er hatte sich minutenlang so geschaukelt. Also war Wunder für mich, dass normalerweise musste sehr schnell aufhören, aber der tut er irgendwie, es bedeutet irgendwie Feld war ziemlich stark.
Yeah, okay, genau. So he says that the ring on the left-hand side, as he is moving the container, began to wobble, and he watched this ring wobble for minutes. And this astounded him because he assumed that this ring would stop moving, and it's continued moving for a long time. And this was a very large surprise to him.
Ich habe festgestellt, ich muss noch was Wichtiges mitteilen.
Oh, he has to share something important?
Während dieses Experiments, wenn die Endphase schon war,
during this experiment, while the end phase was already...
es geschahen unglaubliche Sachen. Also ich war unglaublich munter und konnte 3 Nächte nicht schlafen.
He was, munter bedeutet...
Munter, ich war wach, 3 Nächte wach.
Ah, okay. He was awake for 3 days. He couldn't go to sleep during this process. He said something very amazing was happening.
Aber ich war wie soll ich sagen, ich war ziemlich energetisch oder ich war nicht müde.
Ah, okay. He had lots of energy. He was not tired, and this didn't seem to be an issue other than it being very not normal.
Und leider ist mir später gekommen, dass was Besonderes da entstanden ist.
And later he realized that something very special had occurred in this period.
Ich habe damals die Schichten nicht separat genommen, weil ich habe das zusammengemischt.
And unfortunately, he didn't take these 3 or more layers apart individually, and he mixed the layers all together.
Ich bedauere das.
Bedauere,
es tut mir leid.
Okay, yeah. He said it's very unfortunate, and he apologizes to himself.
2 Jahre später.
Years later.
Ich habe damals zu Rick angeschrieben, aber der hatte mir nicht geantwortet. Ich wollte das mitteilen schon vor 2 Jahren.
Okay. So 2 years ago, he wanted to share this with Rick, but for some reason, Rick didn't respond or didn't get back to him. So he wanted to share this much earlier, I suppose.
Vielleicht für Foundation-Zeit war noch nicht reif.
Perhaps the foundation time was not yet correct.
Und das hat mich jetzt vor kurzem im März, Anfang März habe ich angefangen, neue Versuche mit 4 Behältern und auch Wasserstoff habe ich 4 unterschiedliche Aggregate.
And so at the beginning of March, he has restarted this experiment with 4 containers as well as 4 hydrogen tanks, and is beginning this experiment again.
Und dazu haben wir Separates, die andere Materialien sprechen dafür. Also Rick könnte uns was anderes zeigen. Vielleicht, ich habe nicht Anfang, aber vielleicht Video gibt es mit Anfang, wo ich das aufgebaut habe. Das ist, zuerst war ein Behälter, dann ist zugewachsen, aber im Video kann man das sehen.
Okay, so Rick, possibly there's a video which you would have, which would show the beginning stages of this process.
One of his videos, you mean?
That's what he seems to be indicating, yeah.
Man sieht, es stehen Behälter auf dem Tisch.
Okay, there's a container sitting on a table in the video. That would be your cue to find it.
There's 10-day, 10...
Warte. Nicht 10 day, nicht 10 day.
Not the 10-day?
Okay.
Hier ganze free, März, free, 4 GANs.
4 GANs in March. Is there a video with such a title?
I'm trying to get the titles out here.
Oh.
Yes, well, 4 Ganses
Ja,
with
Gans.
mit Wasser.
Yeah, Wasserstoff is that's the hydrogen.
Wasserstoff is high oxygen oder
Hydrogen.
Okay.
H2.
Oh, H2, he says.
H2.
Okay, let me get that up here.
Okay, er sucht jetzt für das Video.
Lassen wir es laufen, am Ende werde ich erklären.
Okay. And please just let the video run and he will explain things at the end of it.
Okay, let me select it here. Okay, we're playing it.
Ja, das ist schon Endphase.
Oh, this is already the end phase. So perhaps there's one that shows the beginning phase. Is there another video?
Wir können Folgendes machen.
Hello, can you hear me now? Is it
Rick is back.
Sorry, is it the Wonder mit C12 Mittel?
Ist das Video Wunder mit C12?
Ja, kann sein.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. Okay, it's only 15 seconds, so I'll play.
Eigentlich könnten wir alle 3 laufen lassen und ich würde dann erzählen alles.
Okay. In theory, he says you could run all 3 of the videos and then he could explain at the end.
Und dann kann ich erzählen. Alle 3 nacheinander.
Okay, yeah, he says one after the other, all 3 if there are them.
Das war schon in aufgebauter Phase, vielleicht Mitte des Prozesses.
Okay, this is the big. Okay, wir können danach sprechen.
Mhm.
And which video would be next? The 10-day?
Vielleicht das, was jetzt läuft, eignet sich, um das Prozess darzustellen, weil die andere vielleicht gibt es ein Video, aber Bilder sind besser zu besprechen.
Okay, gibt es, wie viele Videos haben Sie an
Ich habe 4. Ich habe
4 Videos, okay. So there's 4 videos in total.
An diesem werde ich erklären, vielleicht wenn Rick zurückgeht, wenn zurück zum ersten Bild, werde ich schon sagen.
Okay, so perhaps Rick, if you just stay in this video, but go back to the first picture in the slideshow, the one with all of the containers, then he can explain as we go along.
So back to this picture or back to the
ones where
video?
Es ist okay.
Okay, this is okay here.
Wir sehen hier 3 Behälter.
We can see here 3 containers.
In 2 Behältern, beiden links.
In the 2 on the left-hand side.
Ich habe so ein Kohlenstoff, ganz dunkle Gans gehabt. Am Anfang waren beide linke gefüllt mit so einem dunkelbraunem Gans, vollem Gans.
Vollem, was heißt das?
Das heißt, die waren gefüllt mit gleichem Gas.
Okay, so the two containers on the left-hand side were both filled with the same type of GANs, a dark brownish colored GANs.
Und das war, ja, ich nannte ihn C12 Kohle-Gas.
And he called it the 12 color GANs.
Der rechte Behälter,
The one on the right-hand side.
der rechte hatte CO2 gehabt am Anfang. Am Anfang CO2, so wie der Prozess vor 2 Jahren.
Okay, and the one container on the right-hand side had CO2 in it to begin, just like his experiment did 2 years ago.
Wir sind jetzt in Mitte des Prozesses, als schon viele Schichten gebildet sind.
In this photo, you can see that we are currently in the middle stages of the experiment, as there are already many layers that are present.
Man sieht auf dem rechten das Schwarz, unten CO2, es bildet sich rötlich und orangene Schicht da und drüber ist klare Liquidflüssigkeit.
Okay, on the right-hand side, we can see the dark on the bottom, then the white, which is the CO2, and then it is changing into a reddish orange on the layer above that, and above that is a clear liquid.
Ich hatte dieses Mal keine Erscheinungen mit Stoffwandern, weil ich hatte 4 unterschiedliche Wasserstoffaggregate.
Okay, so for this experiment, he had 4 different hydrogen containers.
Und ich habe diesmal sie mit einer Wasserflasche eingeschlossen, dass die Gase, das Wasserstoff zuerst in Wasser und dann oben wurde es geführt in Behälter.
Okay, so he had all 4 of those hydrogen containers linked in a way that they would pass through a water bottle or a container with water in it first, so that the gas traveled through the water and then went up into the top of the container and then went into the next portion of the experiment.
3 meine Aggregate, also alle Aggregate für Wasserstoff habe ich selbst gemacht.
All of the containers for the hydrogen he made himself.
Man muss bedenken, dass Raum muss gut gelüftet sein.
You have to make sure that the room has very good ventilation.
Man darf nicht mit offener Flamme reingehen.
And you can definitely not go in there with an open flame.
Das ist Gefahr der Explosion.
Explosive danger.
Nächste Bild bitte.
Next photo, Rick.
Da sieht man deutlich noch diese dritte Behälter, was da sich gebildet hat. Aber es ist unglaublich, von einem Ganz, dazu muss ich sagen, in jedem Behälter diesmal hatte ich nur nano-gecoatete Elektroden.
Okay, so in this container, this is the right-hand side container from the previous photo. And he says, this is unbelievable. This is all from one type of GANs, all from CO2. And können Sie nochmal sagen, was mit den Elektroden passiert ist?
Die Elektroden hatte ich auf beide Seiten nano-gecoatete.
In diesem Container?
In allen Containern waren gleiche Elektroden auf beide Seiten nano-gecoatet, aber die waren elektrisch auf Plus und Minus von einem Netzgerät.
Okay, so in every one of the containers, he had 2 nano-coated electrodes, and these were connected in through his power supply, which was again connected to the Maggrav power unit.
Mein Maggrav Power Unit, das ist was Besonderes.
His Maggrav power unit is something special.
Als ich diesen Prozess angefangen habe,
as he started this process,
29 Stunden stand es auf 0 Volt, 0 Watt, 0 Ampere, wobei musste 90 Watt angezeigt werden.
Wie viele Stunden nochmal?
29.
29. 29? Ist das?
29, ja.
Okay, So at the beginning, when he began the process with his maggraph power unit, he had 0 watts, 0 ampere for 29 hours. And then 90 Watt?
90 Watt musste es zeigen, aber es hatte Volt nicht gezeigt. Es musste, normalerweise muss zeigen 230 Volt.
Ach so, und
war auch 0 Volt.
Okay, so he says the device should have read 230 volts. However, it was showing 0.
Das gleiche hatte ich schon damals bei diesem Prozess, was ich gemacht habe, dass meine Einheit verrückt gespielt hatte.
Einheit verrückt gespielt, kenne ich nicht.
Einheit, das heißt, ich habe ein Maggraph und ein Generator zusammen gekuppelt.
Und was für ein Generator? Ein Cache-Generator?
Das
oder?
heißt, das bedarf nächste Sitzung. Ich musste erklären, mein System, wie es funktioniert, weil ich habe Generator, Maggraph, 3 Ebenen mit einer Sonne, also mit einer Kugel in der Mitte. Und Generator sind bei mir 4 Ebenen mit 4 Kugeln, mit 4 unterschiedlichen Guns. Und die sind zusammen verbunden. Also ist ein
Okay. Yeah, eine Sekunde hier. All right, so it sounds like he has two things: a maggrav power unit as well as a generator. I'm asking whether or not this is a Keshe generator, and he says the maggrav power unit has 3 coils and 1 sun, and that the generator has 4 coils and 4 suns, all with different ganses. These are then coupled together to produce the current or the draw for these experiments.
Ich vermute.
He believes.
Ich vermute, es besteht Zusammenhang mit dem Inhalt des Ganzes und Maggraph-Generator-Einheit, dass die Ganze gespielt haben mit dieser Einheit.
Okay, so it is his belief that the ganses have played with this imbalance of fields, and that this has been an integral part of the production of these fields, or of these GANs interactions.
Die waren von sich elektrisch verbunden, weil wenn man sieht vom Leitung.
Okay, gehen Sie weiter.
Man erkennt an diesem Bild ähnliche Schichten. Es war schwarz-weiß und dann gelb bildete. Rote ist neue. Das Rote ist neue, was sich da bildete.
Okay, what he can see here is that there are just endless layers and layers upon layers. The red color that you see is a new one. It was black, then white, then orange with the clear liquid on the top. But the red seems to be a new interaction.
Next build, please.
Next photo, please.
Da sieht man alles, wie es gebaut. Die 3 linke Behälter, diese Wasserflasche steht dazwischen, Netzgerät, und auf rechts steht, dieser rechte Behälter ist größere, da sind, schätze ich, 1,8 Liter. Am Anfang, in diesem rechten, befand sich Mischung von ZNO plus 20% CH3.
Okay, so here we can see the 3 containers on the left-hand side, the water bottle in the middle. At the back, it looks like he has his different hydrogen containers that were going through this water bottle, through the water, up into the top where the gases would go. Next to the water bottle is his power supply unit. Next to that is another container in which was zinc, so ZNO, and approximately, the whole container was approximately 1.8 liters, and it contained so 80% ZNO und 20% CH3?
Yeah.
Okay, and 80% zinc and 20% CH3 in the far right container with the red alligator clips.
Die Farbe war so beige, also so beige am Anfang, so gesamte, ja,
Okay, the color at the beginning was a beige-ish color.
Mhm. Man sieht im Hintergrund 4 Wasseraggregate, meine Konstruktion.
In the background, you can see the 4 hydrogen containers, his build.
Diese auf rechter Seite in U-Form ist sehr interessant.
Das kann ich nicht so genau sehen.
Also es ist nämlich
Ach so, jetzt, ja, so
hinter großen Behälter. Hinter großen ist einer.
Okay, in the back of the large container, there looks like there's a U-shaped pipe going up into the top of the frame. Maybe you can point that out, Rick, with your cursor so everyone can see.
Und der ist Besonderes, weil da spalte ich getrennt Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff.
And that's where he's got the separated hydrogen and water. I believe that's in those 2 pipes, Rick, with the black and then the white below it.
Und Wasserstoff, also High Oxygen, habe ich direkt in diese Behälter geführt.
And hydrogen, or H2, is what he put into those containers or directed into those containers.
Unterschied war, dass der Schlauch endete im oberen Bereich.
The difference was that the tube entered through the top of the device.
Und in den anderen Behältern sind die Schläuche eingetaucht in die Gasflüssigkeit.
And in the other containers, the hoses were halfway submerged into the GAN's liquid.
2 Gefäße, also zwei diese mit weißem und lilanem Deckel Gläser, die sind gemacht aus Rasierklingeln für Ceranofeld.
So das kenne ich überhaupt nicht. The purple and the white container, I'm going to have to find the word for that translation.
Die sind sehr effektiv.
They are very effective. Was für eine, können Sie nochmals ein bisschen erklären, was die 2 Behälter
dazu vielleicht, wir machen extra Sitzung, dass ich erkläre die Konstruktionen, habe ich mal Bilder auch gemacht, wie das ist, aber das ist eine säurebeständige Stahl, also ziemlich was Festeres, was es gibt.
Ach so, okay, also ganz, also nicht von Plastik und nicht von Glas, oder?
Nee, das sind Rasierklingeln um Ceranofeld, also diese moderne Gas, nicht Gas, sondern moderne Küchengeräte haben so eine Glasplatte. Und um zu reinigen, braucht man so einen Schub mit dieser Rasierklinge. Und diese Rasierklinge ist etwas dicker, aber die ist sehr beständig.
Okay, so I don't understand exactly the word that he's using, Rasierklinge. I'm not sure, but these containers at the back are very strong, very durable. They're made out of something that would be, the only thing that I can imagine is something that would withstand a lot of pressure, possibly like a pressure cooker of some kind. I don't want to use those words because I don't think that's correct, but something that is very tough and will resist explosion.
Das najlepszych stali to jest.
Maybe I can help here.
Yes, please.
Stahl ist Stahl, das heißt Zusammensetzung für Metalle, also ist okay, sind im Prinzip gute Material.
Okay, in principle, very good materials. Perhaps, Sebastian, if you know what these may mean, you may jump in.
Yeah, thanks. That the containers are made of a special steel. It's the same.
Ach so, Stahl. Ja, danke.
Yeah.
Stahl.
It's the same like of the knives of a for shaving of the knife. The knife, it's the same steel, and it's also used for cleaning the plates of the modern Ceran field.
Ceranofeld, ja.
Is it possible that it's a stainless steel?
Der Behälter mit grünem Deckel
Richard, ist das rostfreier Stahl? Meinst du
ist
das?
noch besser, weil das ist säurebeständiger Stahl. Ist
Okay,
beste
anyways,
Qualität.
Okay, a higher quality than stainless steel.
yes, and it's resistant to acids. That's the
Ach so, vielen Dank. Yeah, okay, makes sense.
Mit grünem Deckelbehälter.
The green topped container?
Da habe ich ganz einfache Lösung. In 2 Kunststoffplatten habe ich Schrauben eingeschraubt, beiderseitig abwechselnd, dass Köpfe abwechselnd auf beide Seiten standen, so ein bisschen.
Okay, vielleicht kannst du noch mal sagen, oder Sebastian,
es waren 2 Kunststoffplatten, die habe ich vorgebaut und dann normale Schrauben, verzinkte Schrauben angedreht. Links mal rechts, links, rechts, dass die Köpfe, wenn ich da Draht angelötet habe, hatte ich richtig 2 Kontakte, unterschiedliche Kontakte gehabt auf 2 Seiten.
Okay, das heißt, mit 4 Schrauben sind dann in dem
es sind auf jeder Seite 20 Schrauben eingeschraubt in diese Kunststoffplatten.
Okay, so he used zinc-plated screws and embedded them into the lid of the container so that he had many contact points to attach to.
Und was ist noch Besonderes? Der rechte Container oder Behälter mit Mischung ZNO, CH3.
The far right container, the one that had the beige mixture of ZNO and CH3.
Ich sage so, weil ich habe aus verzinktem Stahl es bekommen. Deswegen Eisen musste da auch drin sein.
Okay. Der Behälter ist dann aus diesem Material.
Nee, nicht Behälter. Behälter ist Kunststoff, also das ist Kunststoff. Aber bei Nanoprozess, bei Ganzentstehung, habe ich benutzt Blech, verzinkte Blech.
Okay. Sebastian, kannst du das vielleicht auf Englisch übersetzen? Da sind ein paar Wörter, wo ich das nicht verstehe.
Oder soll ich nochmal erklären?
Ja, das wäre gut. Ich habe gerade den Anfang kurz verpasst.
Okay. Der rechte Behälter, der größte, diese Gans habe ich mit verzinktem Blech, nicht reinen Zink. Deswegen sage ich, es ist Mischung.
Oh. Galvanized heißt das auf Englisch?
Ja. Deswegen sage ich, es ist Mischung ZNO plus CH3.
Okay. He says that the right-hand container is a mixture of ZNO and CH3 because he used metal that was galvanized with zinc. So it wasn't zinc plate, it was I think iron that was galvanized.
Es passierte oft in diesem Behälter, dass die Elektroden haben sich aufgelöst.
Okay, oftentimes in the right-hand container, the electrodes would dissolve.
In dem Sinne, dass Verbindung ist verloren. Also die haben sich, Draht wurde getrennt.
Der Draht auf dem Elektroden?
Von Elektrodenverbindung nach außen, also diese Verbindung.
Okay, das habe ich nicht so gut verstanden, aber the connection on the outside of the container
Ich muss Draht nach außen führen, um Stromzufuhr gewährleisten. Und Elektrode befindet sich innen und das ab und zu trennte sich.
Ach so, okay. So the electrodes that were going into the far right-hand container seem to have an issue on the outside where the power was being connected to them. Sebastian, if there is something I have missed here, please jump in.
I think we have just the connection broke up.
Okay.
Und es geschah, als ich Elektrode wechseln wollte und habe ich Stromverbindung, also diese rechte Kabel abgeklemmt.
So this happened when he took the power supply off from the, again, we're talking about the container on the right.
Beginnte innen ein Prozess. Es fängte an, so eine helle Substanz nach oben zu steigen, ziemlich sehr magnetisch. Also es war ein Prozess, unglaublicher Prozess, wie eine Schöpfung im Universum.
Okay, so as he took the current off of that electrode, it seems that there was a substance that started to rise through the GANs, through that container.
Can we next build, please? Next photo, please.
Next picture.
Photo. Next picture. Ja, das ist der Moment.
This is the moment.
Ich habe Verbindung getrennt zu Elektrode links.
He took the connection off of the left electrode.
Und dann beginnte diese helle Flüssigkeit zu steigen. Das dauerte Stunden. Es war
and at this point, the liquid began to rise on that side. And this process took several hours, but he says it is very magnetical. It seems to rise very obviously.
Die Farben waren unglaublich interessant.
The colors were extremely interesting.
Ich konnte das mit meiner Kamera nicht richtig geben. Erste Mal hatte ich so eine, muss ich sagen, die Farbtöne noch nie gesehen. Es war blau unglaublich und rot unglaublich.
Okay, he says that the camera doesn't do the image that we see here justice. The colors that he saw were quite incredible, blue and red.
Next build, please. Ich habe dazu extra separate Video, wie das in Bewegung ist.
Okay, he has another video where this shows the motion.
Wobei diesmal habe ich das nicht eingeführt. Wobei Rick hat von mir alles bekommen, was ich gemacht habe.
Sind die Videos nicht hier dabei, oder?
Ich habe nur 4 gestellt. Ich habe eine Menge Material dazu, aber ich habe Rick informiert, laufend. Er hat von mir alles bekommen. Wobei nur bei Facebook.
Okay, da frage ich mal. He says that he sent you all of the videos and that there is a video that shows this motion while it's occurring within the container. Perhaps this was sent over Facebook, Rick. I'm not sure if you have the video in the files you have already or if that needs to be found. But he says he sent them all already.
Right, I'll have a look.
Okay, schaut mal.
Man musste haben, das in Bewegung war noch interessant. Man sieht von oben ein Kabel, tauchte da in Flüssigkeit und
we can see from the top there's a cable that is
in der Mitte halben Zentimeter in Flüssigkeit steckt ein Kabel.
Okay, in the middle we can see that there's a cable that's coming down about a half of a centimeter.
Und aus diesem Kabel stand unter Spannung.
And this cable had a current.
Und da fängt an, ganz kleine Bläschen, ich nehme an Wasserstoff, weil ganz kleine, die waren so winzig kleine Blasen, gingen nach oben, aber ganz winzig kleine.
And from this electrode there were tiny, tiny little bubbles of what we don't know exactly, but was für waren das Wasserstoff oder?
Ich vermute Wasserstoff, weil
ja,
Sauerstoff bildet von sich größere und die waren winzig klein und das bedeutet, dass meine Flüssigkeit war voll mit Wasserstoff getränkt.
Okay, so he believes that what he saw in terms of the bubbles that came off of the electrode that we see in the middle of that container were hydrogen bubbles and not oxygen bubbles, as they were very, very, very small. Oxygen bubbles would have been much larger. This also seems to indicate that the liquid that we see, the clear liquid in this container, would be heavily saturated with hydrogen.
Diesmal ist mir besser gelungen.
That's what he believed this time.
Am Ende die ganze zu trennen nach Farbe. Ich habe sie richtig aus 4 Grund. Ich habe 16 unterschiedliche Ganze bekommen.
Okay. And from this experiment, instead of mixing the layers together, he was able to extract from the 4 different containers 16 ganses.
Next Bild, the photo, please.
That's it on that video.
Okay, da sind wir jetzt schon zu Ende in diesem Video.
Okay. Dann vielleicht zeigen wir ein Video, was läuft als Film.
Okay, so perhaps Rick, if you see one of the videos that actually runs as film, we could look at that one next.
Oder next, mal sehen, weil waren 4 Sachen nur.
I'm trying to find one of the ones in Facebook or Messenger or wherever it came through here.
Okay.
And play it in Facebook. It's a tiny little video. It doesn't show up.
Right. Would you have to save it out of there and download it again at some point?
It won't let me. It won't let me download or save it. I have to go into Messenger and then play the video in just a small screen because I can't.
Wobei man kann kopieren.
Okay, schaut jetzt im Facebook oder wir können vielleicht das Video im
Facebook. Zeigt uns was, das wir sehen am Bild und er kann suchen.
Ja, da ist ein kleines Problem, wenn das Video im Facebook schauen lässt. Dann ist das vielleicht ganz klein, aber er guckt jetzt dabei, ob er es machen kann.
Wir können vielleicht, weil ich habe eine Menge Material oder sehr viel gemacht dabei, das vielleicht in Detail anders mal erklären.
Okay, wir warten vielleicht einen Moment, ob Rick das finden kann. Wenn nicht, dann können wir weiter in eine andere gehen. Rick, maybe if, he says he has other materials that he could go into or that could be explained. So if you wanted to keep looking and maybe also we could continue in another way if that doesn't work.
I've looked through the 8 videos 4 or 5 times and I can't find any videos that actually play. They're just pictures that play.
Vielleicht lassen wir das.
Okay, dann vielleicht, let's just leave it then.
Okay.
Eins muss ich sagen zu diesen 16 Gans.
One thing he must say to all these 16 ganses.
Die sind viel, viel stärker als die Grundganze, die wir machen.
He says that they are much, much stronger than the basic ganses that we've been making.
Und vielleicht in dieser Methode liegt Schlüssel, in eine neue Generation in der Technik zu gehen.
And perhaps in this way, we have the key which would open a new door in a new understanding of stronger types of ganses.
Im Prinzip für alle technische Geräte brauchen wir neue Qualität.
In principle, for all kinds of technologies, we need a higher order or a higher quality of these basic ganses. So perhaps we have unlocked this in this method.
Okay, very good. I thought maybe we should stop for a second and ask if people have questions and try to deal with that before we carry on.
Yeah. Das ist jetzt vielleicht ein guter Moment, Ihnen zu fragen, ob die Leute hier in diesem Chat noch ein paar Fragen oder irgendwas sagen möchten.
Okay, so if anyone has a question, I've got one, for example. Let me get that first video back up again. And where was it?
Wir können auch am Ende Fragen klären.
Ja, das ist im Moment vielleicht ein guter Blick, um den Prozess nochmal zu erklären und noch weitergehen.
Das haben wir schon gesehen.
Ja, der Rick wollte hier eine Frage stellen.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead,
Okay,
Rick.
so on your hydrogen generator, the one with the purple lid there.
It may not be a generator. It may be just a container that contains the hydrogen gas.
Okay, well, can he explain what's in there? Is there any electrodes, or is there salt water in there, or gases? What goes into it exactly? You have a wire that goes in. Can you explain again what it's all about? How he generates the hydrogen?
Okay, sure.
Or does hydrogen come into this? I'm not sure if it goes in.
What I believe this to be, and perhaps this is my misunderstanding, but I believe that container is just the holder of the hydrogen gas, and that pipe or that wire, what looks like a wire, is actually a hose that is containing that black liquid. But let me ask, and we can get a better answer in case that is incorrect.
Ich erkläre zu diesem Behälter, zu diesem Wasserstoffaggregat.
Ja, genau.
Da befinden sich diese Rasierklingen.
Okay,
also aus Rasierklingen wurden Elektroden gemacht.
Okay, so there was some electrodes made out of this super steel, which I don't have the proper name for, but it is the high grade, higher than stainless steel electrodes that he created.
It's a razor blade.
Thank you.
Ich habe unterschiedliche Flüssigkeiten. Ich habe Salzlösung genutzt. Ich habe Magnesiumsalz genutzt und ich habe Potassiumsalz genutzt und NaOH, unterschiedliche Flüssigkeiten, weil ich wollte ausprobieren. Und leider, ich habe damals keine Notizen gemacht, welche wirken, weil habe ich gewechselt. Die Flüssigkeiten bei allen funktioniert. Leider, da geht Sauerstoff zusammen mit Wasserstoff in, weil ich habe das nicht getrennt.
Okay, und können Sie mir ein bisschen langsamer erklären, was da genau in diesem Lilein...
Okay. Im Moment kann ich nicht sagen, welche Flüssigkeit drin, weil ich habe 4 benutzt.
Ach so, okay. Das heißt, da in den 4 gesamten Behälter sind...
Im Prozess waren 4 unterschiedliche Elektrolyte genutzt.
Okay, so he says in these 4 different containers, now we're looking at one of them in the purple lid, that 4 different electrolytes were used. So he doesn't know specifically, and in which case, which ones were there. But what was used was NaOH, potassium, magnesium. These are salts, the potassium and magnesium salts.
Salz?
Nochmal?
Salz, also NaCl.
NaCl, yeah, okay, and regular NaCl.
Und NaOH.
And NaOH. So caustic soda.
Und kann ich nicht sagen, welche hatte diese Schaum produziert. Das hatte ich nicht feststellen, oder jetzt weiß ich nicht, bei welchem war das.
Ach so, okay. Und das heißt dann, in diesen 4 Behälter waren das getrennte...
Getrennte, ja.
Okay, so eins war Magnesium, eins war Potassium.
Ja, einmal war und dann aus und dann neue. Nicht gemischt. Es waren getrennte.
Yeah, okay. So each one of these containers had its own type of salt. One was magnesium, one was potassium. They had NaOH in them as well, but he doesn't know in which one of these containers which one of the salts that he put in.
Man musste das wiederholen und die Beobachtung strikt machen, notieren alles, was passiert. Ich habe damals, muss ich sagen, war ich selbst schockiert, was da läuft.
Okay, so what he would like to express was that this experiment was a surprise to him, and he is not sure which one of the electrolytes produced the foamy substance that we see in the purple lidded container. And unfortunately for him and for us, we don't have exact notes of which one of these containers contained what, and he will be we would need to repeat this experiment to get that specific information.
Okay. Now, does the container with the purple lid generate hydrogen?
Okay.
Gas,
und der Behälter mit dem lilanen Deckel ist, ist Sauerstoff daraus gemacht?
Nein, eben, da geht Sauerstoff und Wasserstoff, weil ich trenne die nicht. Da gehen beide Gase ins Grundbehälter.
Also kommt dann Wasserstoff da rein oder da raus?
Durch diesen Prozess, ich spalte Wasser auf Sauerstoff und Wasserstoff. Aber die beiden Gase wandern in mein Grundbehälter. Das heißt, ich trenne sie nicht. Weil bei dieser Methode beide Gase sind getrennt, aber beide Gase gehen wieder in diese Behälter.
Und wenn Sie sagen, diesen Behälter, sind das immer noch den gleichen mit dem lila?
Da sind zwei Behälter verbunden. Einmal Aggregat, Wasserstoffaggregat und mein Prozessbehälter oder diese mit gelben Deckel. Gelber Deckel und lilane Deckel, diese zwei. Und,
ach so, okay, das habe ich nicht verstanden. Okay, danke.
Soll ich sagen, vielleicht Kunststoff und Glas. Kunststoffbehälter ist rechts und Glas ist links.
Okay, ja, das hilft schon. Okay, so he has oxygen and hydrogen are separated, but they are also going into the same container later. So he has the purple lid and the orange lidded container on the right, the one that's sitting on top of the orangey kind of gray lidded container. Those are the two containers that have this separation of gases occurring. So
if I can help you
yes,
a little
please,
bit.
Sebastian, jump in if you can.
Yeah, I think you mean that the black hose is coming from electrolyte where he's...
Ja, black ist Elektro. Ist Anschluss vom Netzgerät. Da gehen zwei Kabel rein zu zwei Elektroden, getrennt, Plus und Minus.
Genau. Der blanke Kabel ist keine, da gehen nicht die ganze raus.
Nee, es ist nur diese durchsichtige verbunden beide, das heißt Gase gehen nur durch Schlauch, heller Schlauch.
Okay, so the gases are not going through that black cable, they're only going through the clear cables. Sebastian, vielleicht kannst du noch mal sagen, was du wolltest.
Yeah, and he does the electrolyte for creating the gases in the container with the purple lid. And from there, the gases going together as hydrogen and oxygen together in the right-hand container where the CO2 gains are.
Okay, so we have the black cable is electrical cable then? There's power going into electrodes inside?
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Correct.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
okay, so
sense.
good. Yeah, we should probably have done a diagram like Joel mentions there. It would have been easier. But
ich habe mit Heißkleber gedichtet alles.
He sealed everything with hot glue. That's what you can see at the top of the lid there.
Right, yeah. And what is the large sort of part on the top of the lid?
Kabel ist so ein kleiner Kunststofftopf, so ein kleine Kunststoffdose, ganz kleines, habe ich Loch gemacht und von unten gesteckt und ist von innen und außen dicht gemacht. Dass es so ein Deckelchen steht Und um einfach Luft zu schaffen, das Kabel, das Gas sich in diesem kleinen bildet und von da geht.
Okay. So that's a small plastic container, and he drilled a small hole into it so that the gases would be able to build within that container and then transfer through the clear hose into the other.
Okay, it's just structural. I thought it might have been zinc or something.
Yeah, I thought that was the electrode.
Okay, got it. Now, explain again how much power is going into this. What is the black wire hooked up to?
Parameter, elektrische Parameter waren ganz niedriger Strom und also wenig Volt und wenig Ampere. Ganz wenig.
Very little.
Also waren so 2 Zehntel, 1 Zehntel Ampere und unter 1 Volt.
Okay, so 0.2 amps, is that correct, Sebastian?
Yes, 0.102.
Okay, so it's between 0.1 and 0.2 amps and less than 1 volt. Is that also what I heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Wobei kann man das einstellen und regeln, weil man muss probieren, es muss sich Gas bilden. Und wenn es schon bei kleinem Strom Gas bildet, dann braucht man das nicht herstellen.
Okay, so he's suggesting that you need to keep this regulated at a very low voltage and volt amperage so that the gases can build in that container. Does that make sense?
Ihr dürft nicht vergessen,
we must not forget,
dass gesamte Speisung elektrisch ging durch Einheit Markgraf-Generator zum Netzgerät.
Okay, we cannot forget that the power that is being supplied through that black line is going through his Markgraf power unit and generator system before being regulated down to that specific level.
Und damals beginnt meine Einheit verrückt zu spielen.
Sebastian, das habe ich nicht verstanden.
Also schon damals bei diesem externen Experiment, ich hatte 0 Werte bekommen und das hatte gedauert mehrere Tage. Das
habe ich am Anfang nicht verstanden, aber das, okay.
Vielleicht erkläre ich nochmal.
No, ich meine, dass der Sebastian ist. Yeah, go ahead.
He says in the beginning that his device didn't work properly. I think he means what he says earlier with the 29 hours, that it didn't show any current or amperage.
2029 war bei zweitem Experiment und hier waren mehrere Tage.
And here it was several days that there wasn't any current or voltage, even though there should have been. And after some days it appeared.
Als ich diese Einheit genommen habe auf den Balkon, um Nano-Coating im Topf zu machen, elektrisch.
As he nano-coated on the balcony in a pot.
Da 1500 Watt hatte gebraucht und es stand alles auf Null, habe ich auch separates Video.
Okay, so he has another video where he is inputting or plugging something in that draws 100 or 1500 watts, and again the device was showing 0.
Und dann nach ein paar Tagen wieder haben sich Werte gezeigt.
And then after a few days, the numbers began to appear, or the wattage began to appear.
Ich vermute,
he believes,
ich habe aufgebaut ein Feld und dieses Feld hat sich verbraucht und ich konnte dieses Feld nicht stabil halten.
Okay, so he believes he built a field up, and that at a certain point that field may have either collapsed, and that was the reason why the wattage was showing again. after a few days.
Deswegen sage ich, in diesen Prozessen gibt es riesige Potenzial.
So because of this, there is massive potential for furthering this experiment.
Interessant wäre, dass noch andere in diese Richtung geforscht hätten.
Very interesting it would be if there were more people that were working their way down this path.
Meine letzten Experimente haben das mir bestätigt.
His most recent experiments seem to have shown good evidence for this.
Okay. Vielleicht gibt es, wir haben noch 2 Videos zu sehen. Bitte vergiss nicht, da sind noch 2 Sachen.
Sind diese Videos so mit Fotos oder mit Bild?
Nehme ich ein Video und ein Foto.
Okay,
Du kannst die 2 Filme noch zeigen.
Okay, so he says that there are 2 more films that we have yet to see. One again.
Ich habe geschickt 4 Sachen.
He has 4 things in total that were sent. One of them is going to be motion, and one of them is going to be photos again.
Okay, we've got. Let's see.
Hi, this is Boris. Can I ask a question to the MAGRAPH units?
Yes.
That are used? I just wonder where the electrical supply was plugged in, on the magnetical or on the gravitational side of your MAGRAPH.
Okay.
Du kannst ihm sagen, ich habe verstanden. Du kannst ihm sagen, meine MAGRAPH sind eine ist gravitativ, eine ist magnetisch, eine ist stark, eine schwach. Und die bilden wie Sonne und Erde eine Einheit.
Okay, so he can explain that his 2 MAGRAPH systems, one is a magnetical, one is a gravitational, and these produce the fields of sun and earth. And so he has an exchange of energies going between them. I will ask your question again, if you can repeat it, please.
Die Sassade oder das Prinzip ist, Starke füttert den Schwachen.
And the idea is that the strong feeds the weak. Ich meine, dass der Boris hatte eine, er wollte wissen, ob auf welche Seite der Stromnetz ist. Ist es auf der gravitationelle oder auf diese magnetische Seite von dem?
Das kann ich nicht sagen, weil ich wusste nicht, wie standen sie, aus welchem habe ich schon. Das kann ich nicht bestätigen. Aber es ist einfach zu probieren.
Ja, okay.
Also er hat eine Cascading Unit, auf gut Deutsch. Ich bin aus Österreich, hallo. So he has a cascading unit and he uses the field between these 2 MAGRAPHs.
Right. But he is not sure which one of the sides was being connected because he doesn't know.
I was just interested because he said he does nano coating by electrical power and he uses 1500 watts and he did not see any measurements for one day. I mean, this is a huge field, isn't it? Huh?
Mm-hmm. That's a massive field.
Kannst du vielleicht ihm sagen, dass meine MAGRAPH sind etwas größer und Kabel benutze ich über 1,6.
Okay, so the MAGRAPH units are made out of copper wire that are larger.
Und Spulen sind etwas größer.
Das habe ich nicht verstanden, weil ich im Moment...
Ich werde Betriebs-MAGRAPH extra noch zeigen und erklären, wie ich sie mache.
Okay, vielen Dank. So he just mentioned that the MAGRAPH power units are not made with the regular 1.6 millimeter type copper wire, but with a larger gauge. And if we have, if possible, he would like to show and explain those.
Yes, and he uses bigger coils also. So
that's what I'm trying to explain. Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine by making a coil from a larger thread of a wire, it would also create a larger coil, but that's my understanding.
Ich mache noch viele Sachen, die nicht alle kennen. Betriebs-MAGRAPHs.
He is doing many things that not everybody is aware of with these magravs yet.
Weil ich mache Stacker aus Holz, diesem Sperrholz ist das.
He's making the stackers out of wood.
Und jede Platte, also jede Spule ist auch in Gans eingelegt, bevor sie Verwendung findet. Besondere Gans.
And each layer of these coils, of these stacker units, is dipped into a specific type of GANs. Und
die gleiche Gans, nicht gleiche, unterschiedliche Gans, um Reaktionen zu rufen, sind die Platten, um Interaktionen noch vorzubringen.
Okay, and so he's bringing an interaction between these different plates and these different field strengths on the
diese Holz gibt es sehr besonders, also mit Gans. Holz von sich ist Gans. Und wenn man also das verwendet, das ist sehr, muss ich sagen, dankbare Material.
Okay, and so in using the specific type of wood in this process, he is getting, and in combination with the specific ganses, he is getting a very, I'm looking for the word, a very malleable.
Aber wir machen vielleicht Sendung extra, weil gibt es so viele Details und wir gehen jetzt, also weichen wir ab. Wir haben noch 2 Videos und ich weiß nicht, wie viel Zeit ihr habt. Ich habe bis 10 Uhr europäische Zeit, also noch Stunde 15 Minuten. Ich würde gerne besprechen, das, was ich gezeigt. Ich werde euch gerne mitteilen, weil ich habe viele Sachen gemacht. Damals habe ich Rick angeboten, aber er wollte nicht. Irgendwie,
okay. So we're veering off a little bit from the topic that he wanted to discuss today in going into more and more of his other devices, and perhaps that could happen as well. But if possible, he would like to show the other videos, which hopefully are available for us to view. He also has time only until 10 p.m. or 10 o'clock European time, so an hour and 15 minutes or so to continue. I will say from my end, I believe I probably have another 15 minutes left in me, and then Sebastian, if you don't mind taking over, that would be great.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Rick, if it's possible, we would like to see the next video.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have the one called 10-day, 10 tag H2. I don't. Two of them look quite similar. So.
Das ist ein Prozess jetzt im 10. Tag des Prozesses. Wie sah es aus?
Okay, so this is within the 10th day of the experiment. What it looked like. This is a bit of an in-between stage.
Die Farben sprechen für sich.
The colors speak for themselves.
Ab und zu musste ich diese Elektroden, die haben sich, also Draht wurde, weiß ich nicht, also getrennt, da musste ich nachschauen und neue befestigen. Das hat sich Verbindung aufgelöst.
Okay, so he says here the electrodes again had to be exchanged for new ones, and he had to periodically check in on them and make sure that they were still operational, or if they needed to be changed, he needed to make new ones at regular intervals.
Ich habe genutzt, ich hatte Kondensatoren, wollte ich machen, und so eine Spulen wie Kondensatoren, also ziemlich viele gewickelte Drähte, also das war schon diese Elektroden waren schon ziemlich gut.
So he wanted to make electrodes with many windings, and these were very well done. It seemed that still caused, or that that the electrodes still had some, I would say, deterioration, or I mean, melting is the wrong term, but they had to be exchanged.
Man sieht diese Flüssigkeit, sie wird türkis oder bläulich.
You can see the liquid is kind of turning into a blue, green, turquoisey color, the one that's
das
on the top.
Deutet an Wasserstoffwirkung.
And this is, according to him, shows the hydrogen working.
Next piece.
Sorry, what are the electrodes again in this?
Which kind, or?
Yeah, what kind of electrodes?
Sind das hier die Kupferelektroden?
Da sind nano-gecoatete. Ich hatte kein Nanomaterial, aber ich hatte viele Teile für Kondensatorenbau. Ich baue auf meine eigene Art Kondensatoren.
So he's building condensers here. He didn't have enough nanomaterial left, so he has made condensers, but I don't understand what those are. So if somebody understands better, please jump in.
Ich habe nur Nanomaterial verwendet, also nur Nano, auf beide Seiten Nano.
Okay, on both sides Nano. Und waren das jetzt Kupfer oder?
Kupfer Nano gecoatet und einer auf Plus, einer auf Minus. Spannung war auch niedrig und also ich versuchte unter niedrigem Strom alles zu halten und niedrige Amperage.
Okay, aber immer noch Kupfer auf jeden Seite.
Ja, aber Kupfer
okay.
Nano beschichtet.
Ja, genau. Okay. So these ones were always copper, but nano-coated. And on either side of the plus and minus, and he kept the voltage and amperage as low as he possibly could.
Next photo.
Does that answer the question, Rick?
Diese Farbe, da sieht in dem großen Behälter so ein bisschen rotlich, aber die war von sich ist falsche Farbebild nicht gegeben. Das war heller, von sich viel hellere Ton, aber ich nehme an, durch Lichteinstrahlung ist nicht ganz gegeben, wie es war.
Okay, so in this picture, the color of the liquid or the GANs in that container is somewhat darker than it should have been. In reality, it was a lighter color.
Next bill, please.
And again, that container was the one that we saw on the far right.
Das ist der Aufbau, wie es da war.
This is the setup as it was.
Es waren sehr viele Schläuche und sehr viele Kabel. Elektrisch war Wirrwarr, aber ich hatte Probleme, das zu verbinden. Und ich habe das alles parallel geschaltet, die alle Behälter und so, um Parameter gleich zu halten.
Okay, so he says here there was lots and lots of cables and connections, and he had some difficulty in getting it working, but that the connections were all made in parallel. That's what I understand. If I misunderstand, please, Sebastian, jump in.
It's all right.
Okay.
Next photo, please. Und das hatten wir schon, aber da sagt man bläulich. Die Farben sind hier nicht gegeben, war zu dunkel. Diese bläuliche, diese Rot war unglaublich rot und blaue Schicht war richtig blau, aber das war wunderschön blau. Hier ist auch Farbe nicht hundertprozentig gegeben, wie es in der Natur war.
Okay, so in this picture again, the image doesn't quite show the color correctly, but the red that you see was an extremely red, and there was a very vibrant layer of blue, more vibrant of a blue than exists in nature.
Okay, und sehr interessant ist, ich bedauere, diese magnetische, das habe ich nicht separiert, ist mir nicht gelungen, dass ich das, weil das war sehr wenig Substanz. Ich konnte sie nicht
trennen, oder?
Nicht trennen, weil war sehr wenig. Ich habe schon 16 unterschiedliche Ganze separiert. Aber diese äußerst magnetische, merkwürdige, was da geschah, was machte Wunder in dem Behälter, ist mir nicht gelungen.
Das heißt, dass die zwei, das Rote und das Blaue, sind dann in das gesamte Container gemischt worden.
Und das,
Okay.
was fliegt, diese magnetische, war auch sehr wenig davon.
Und das Magnetische war das Blaue oder das Rote?
In der Flüssigkeit fliegen richtig in Bewegung waren, die schossen wie Gefäße von unten, wie richtig nach oben waren, wie Raketen nach oben und dann sind langsam runtergesunken.
Okay, if we can go back to that photo, I can explain a little bit. The one with the red.
Schon alles. Es war schon alles. Okay, next video bitte, please.
Okay. Yeah, it was the one with the red. That's the picture there. Unfortunately, he said because he had already separated so many different types of ganses that at this stage, separating the blue and the red from the rest of the mixture didn't occur to him until later or until it was too late. And so those very particular GANs types which showed up got mixed into the container.
Tatsächlich wäre wunderbar, wenn man die kleinen Mengen, was da spielten oben, das, was in klare Flüssigkeit oder diese bläuliche oder diese rote, das abzuseparieren, weil das war nämlich ein Highlight in diesem Prozess.
Okay, so he says that there was the highlight for him in this process was these very vibrant, I would call them things that rose, and I don't know if they're bubbles or if it's a type of material that rose up from there in through the liquid. And he says if there was a way to capture and or separate those, that would be of utmost importance to him if that experiment could be recreated.
Auf diesem Bild sieht man auch, das Nano-Coating, das schon rot, das Kupfer, das ganze Schwarze ist schon weg von den Elektroden.
Okay, so in this picture, all of the, where it's hard to tell, but all of the black nano coating is already gone from this wire. And so this could be an interaction between the bare copper and these fields that are interacting, which would be slightly different than what would have been when the nano coating was still present on the wire.
Okay. Können wir nächste Video sehen?
The next video, please.
Diese ist nicht gelungen, es Farben, es ist zu dunkel. Aber
in these pictures, it was hard to see the color because I guess the photo was too backlit.
Tatsächlich, dieses Experiment hat mich bestätigt, dass durch diese Wasserstoff, durch diese Methode bekommen wir besondere Ganze, bilden sich.
Können Sie das nochmal sagen? Da war ein bisschen Problem mit Video.
Die Methode mit Wasserstoff hat mich hat bestätigt, dass in diesem Prozess bilden sich besondere Ganze.
Okay. In this process with the hydrogen gas GANs process, he believes, or he is of the opinion that this is an environment that creates very special different types of ganses.
Okay, shall I play? Just a second.
Yeah, I think if you have it ready, that would be
play
great.
the other one. Okay.
Yes, please.
And I think you have to leave in a couple of minutes here. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, it's just getting to be about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I should probably be in bed.
Well, this is a 2-minute video, so
I'll watch it. I put this much effort in, and I'm very intrigued to find out what's next.
Thank you for your clear translation, by the way. It's very clean and clear, the way we like it.
Thank you. I'm learning my German over again as we speak. So.
Okay, this is the 4th video. Shall I play it, or does he want to comment on that first?
No, I think that he wants to see this video coming up.
Oh, sorry. I didn't share it properly. Just a minute. Here we go. Okay, you should be able to see that, correct?
Yeah, I can see.
Das ist schon am Ende des Prozesses, als ich beendet habe. Das ist der Zustand.
Okay, so this is towards the end of the process. This is one of the results.
Am Ende, man sieht, was da geschah, wenn man 10. Tag vergleicht und jetzt, man sieht tatsächlich, dass man sieht noch Nanoelektrode. Nano ist da in diesem Behälter geblieben, aber viel ist in Liquidplasma umgewandelt, aber die Farben sind auch wunderbar.
Okay, so this is towards the end of the experiment, and you can see the electrodes have left the blackish layering, and this, when you compare it in comparison to the 10-day experiment, you can see the progress that this is towards the end of the experiment. Wie lang ist das jetzt gewesen?
Das hatte 3 Wochen gedauert.
Okay, so this is about 3 weeks at the end of this process. So by comparing the 10-day to the 3-week mark, we can see the very different colors and marbling effects that have occurred.
Man kann zu dem ersten Experiment, was ich gemacht habe vor 2 Jahren, das war auch CO2 hier und es sind zwar war Gold nicht da und war nicht andere Speisung, da hatte ich Batteriekondensator gehabt und hier ist richtig aus dem Netz gerät. Aber etwas anderes ist entstanden als damals.
Okay. So when he compares this experiment to the one that he did 2 years ago, there were differences. There was no gold. In welchen war kein Gold? In diesem Experiment oder im ersten?
Gold war am Anfang vor 2 Jahren hatte ich Goldelektrode und hier hatte ich Nano.
Okay.
Nano-Elektroden.
Okay, so in the first experiment 2 years ago, he had the gold electrodes, and in this experiment, he had the nano of copper.
Und diesmal ist mir gelungen, die ganze zu separieren.
And this time it was, according to him, a good idea to separate the ganses rather than mix them together. Vielen Dank dafür.
Ja, man sieht jetzt unterschiedliche Farben, was wir damals gesehen haben in dem Behälter. Schaut hier bitte, wie Farben, also Kamera und Licht, man muss eine Methode entwickeln, wie richtig das war zu zeigen, weil durch Licht wird viel vertuscht oder vertauscht.
Okay, ja, verstehe. We would need to devise some way, if possible, of illuminating the liquid inside these containers without the use of an external flash like we see in this picture, because it completely changes or alters the color makeup of these different ganses and makes it difficult to both see and even understand what fields are or which ganses are where. So in a way, we may need to find a method to create a better light condition to take these photos.
Man sieht, haben sich Schichten gebildet, wie manchmal in der Erde, wie Prozesse in der Erde mit Tausenden von Jahren. Hier geschah in 3 Wochen, dass unterschiedliche Strukturen sich schichtweise gezeigt haben.
As we can see in this photo, it resembles different layers as they would be created over hundreds of millions of years within the Earth in a process as short as 3 weeks.
Next Bild bitte.
Next photo.
Ja, da sieht man richtig Schichten CH3. Es sind in jedem Behälter 4 unterschiedliche Ganze da. Und in dem mittleren, da ist Grün, so ein bisschen in der Mitte. Und diese Grün konnte ich separieren. Und das war besondere Grün.
Okay. Das heißt, auf der linken Seite die ersten oder zweiten Schichte.
Der rechte in der Mitte hat grünliche und das war besonderes Grün. Das gelang mir zu separieren.
Okay, so in these containers, we can clearly see these many different layers of gases. Each one of these containers has a 4 layers or 4 different types of gases being created. He says the one in the middle on the right he was able to extract a very green GANs, which perhaps in the photo appears black.
Ich habe gedacht,
he believes, or he thought,
dass es ähnliche Ganze waren in beiden Behältern, aber demnach sieht nicht so aus, weil die waren unterschiedlich proportional, also die waren nicht identisch in beiden Behältern, weil das, was entstanden, unterscheidet sich auch.
Okay, yeah. So while running the experiment, he believed that he would get the same result from these 2 containers, although it is quite evident that they are different. And this may be due to the balance of these fields and how one of them is reacting with the other. I'm not sure.
Okay, next field, please. Ja, da sah man an dem kurz vorherige, eins zuvor.
Go one further.
Ja, da sieht man, das ist der rechte Behälter, was am Anfang CO2 war. Man
This
sieht,
is the right-hand container, which at the beginning was all made of CO2.
Der Nano ist schon angegriffen und komischerweise schwarze Schicht oder schwarz hat sich oben gebildet, war leicht, also magnetisch schwarz, weil damals schwarz hatte ich unten in dem ersten Experiment.
Ach so, okay, yeah, verstehe. What's very interesting about this third container is that the black GANs, which is full of the nano material, seems to be magnetic, which is opposite from what he had in the previous experiments where it was of gravitational strength and is therefore in this photo floating at the top rather than at the bottom.
Okay, next bild, please. Das hatten wir schon besprochen. Und da sieht man diese grünliche in der Mitte, in dem mittleren Behälter.
Okay, so this is the green GANs, a better photo, or a photo showing the green color better than the last one, which we talked about prior.
Es war nicht viel, aber es so ungefähr 100 Milliliter habe ich extra bekommen.
Okay, it was not a lot, but he was able to gather or to collect about 100 milliliters of the greenish type of GANs, which is in the middle bubble.
Man muss diese Ganze sind sehr verdichtet, also die sind wie Pudding schon.
Okay, das heißt, die bewegen sich nicht so viel?
Die sind also dadurch, dass immer Flüssigkeit resublimiert wird, die Ganze sind ziemlich im festen Zustand. Das heißt, die sind wie Pudding.
Yeah, okay. So he's suggesting that these ganses were much less like liquid at this stage and settled in a way more like jello or pudding. So they stayed in the same area, which to me, I'm not translating this part, but to me suggests that the field strengths held them in place.
Deswegen die Stärke ist da, weil die sind ziemlich verdichtet.
Okay, which means that the strength is there because they are in sheets or in layers. They are not, they're in layers.
Und da sieht man schon besser die Farben an diesem Behälter, man sieht Unterschiedlichkeit.
Here we can see better the, ist das der Behälter, die auf der rechten Seite war?
Der größte.
Die größte, okay, ja.
1,8 Liter Gans.
Okay. So here we can see this was the right-hand side container, the one that contained 1.8 liters of the GANs. We can see a multitude of colors, and this photo shows that better.
Ich muss noch gestehen,
He would like to say,
in diesem Prozess, bei diesem Experiment,
in this process, by this experiment,
ich habe ungefähr 150 Milliliter Flüssigkeit von jedem Behälter entnommen.
he had 150 milliliters that he took from each of the containers
Während des Experiments.
during the experiment.
Und ich habe gegeben schwarze Flüssigkeit aus diesem Wasserstoff, also diese schwarze, nicht ganz oder dickflüssige schwarze zu jedem gegeben. Also das waren Wasserstoffpartikel, habe ich zugeführt, weil ich bin mit Wasser gegangen. Das heißt meine Mischung Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff war zu groß und da wollte ich noch mehr Wasserstoff zufügen.
Okay, so das heißt, die 150 Milliliter sind das die Kombination von Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff?
Die 150 habe ich entnommen mit einer Spritze habe ich entnommen, 150 Liquid, klare Flüssigkeit. Aus jedem Behälter. Aus
jedem, okay. So he took about 150 milliliters of liquid out of each of these containers.
Und da habe ich 150 gegeben, die Flüssigkeit vom Wasserstoffbehälter. Also das war schwarze, also ziemlich mit Wasserstoff getränkte Flüsse, also viele Wasserstoffatome, sage ich so.
Das habe ich am letzten Moment nicht gehört.
Ich musste
einfach nochmal sagen, da habe ich einfach...
Flüssigkeit muss ich fast jeden Tag erneuern im Wasserstoffaggregat. Und wenn man das ergießt, ist so eine schwarz mit sehr vielen Partikeln. Ist nicht so dicht wie ganz, aber ist ziemlich wasserstoffhaltig. Und davon habe ich für jede Behälter 150 Milliliter nach oben gegeben.
Jeden Tag, oder?
Nee, nur einmal.
Ach so, okay. Einmal. In den ganzen 3 Wochen.
In den ganzen 3 Wochen einmal.
Okay. So in the total experiment, in each of these containers, he had to take from his initial water and hydrogen container, he had to put in 150 milliliters of this blackish liquid into each of these containers. If I understand that wrong, Sebastian or someone else, please jump in.
Ich konnte diesmal sehr gut trennen und nach Farben die ganze resublimieren.
So this time he was able to very well or very effectively separate the types of ganses in this experiment.
Und ich habe 16 unterschiedliche Farben oder 16 unterschiedliche Arten konnte ich trennen.
Produzieren oder trennen,
ja,
okay.
Produzieren oder sind entstanden.
Yeah, okay. So during this experiment, he was able to separate or produce and then separate 16 different colored and types of ganses.
Okay, next please. Okay, das ist nicht viel zu sehen, aber man sieht, ja, dass ungefähr ein Drittel flüssiges Liquid ist, also klares.
Okay, well, not much to see here, but he says you can see that approximately 1/3 of the container is of this clear liquid. Möchten Sie noch etwas dazu sagen oder sollten wir noch ein paar Fragen gehen?
Das Bild haben wir schon mal besprochen.
Okay. So most of these pictures we've already spoken about.
Ich vermute, das waren schon alle.
Okay. He believes that this was the lot that we went through already here. So if there is anyone that has any questions that they would like me to translate, I'm happy to do so for a little while longer, and then at the next point I would definitely be ready for my pillow.
Es ist noch ein Film oder eine Präsentation da geblieben, weil 4 habe ich zur Verfügung gestellt.
Ach so, okay. Rick, he says that there is yet one more slideshow or video, depending on which is there. If there is a fourth one that we could go into.
Wenn man sowas nur sieht, ohne Vorkenntnisse, was da geschieht oder wie es, dann sagt das nicht viel, aber da sind tatsächlich unglaubliche Sachen.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. So if you don't understand what's happening here, it looks like a bunch of muck and nothing all too special is going on. But when you understand what has occurred and what is happening in this experiment, it is truly something very special. Or very interesting at the very least.
I have one question. How does he know that he's getting GANs and not just some material, other matter level material, let's say?
Der Rick wollte wissen, wie Sie wissen, dass Sie hier verschiedene Gänse produziert haben und nicht sozusagen normale Matter State Sachen.
Ich kann nur vermuten, wenn ich aus einem Ganz im Separaten, dass das Ganz entsteht nach Farben. Aus Ganz kann Ganz entstehen von sich.
Yeah, okay. He can only presume that when you start an experiment, or when he has started an experiment using GANs, that there can only be GANs that has been created from the GANs.
I don't know if I go with that. Mr. Keshe stated that if you use electricity, then you can get matter level compounds that are created, like chemical compounds, for example.
Okay.
So I wonder about that.
I'll try and translate that. Der Rick meint, dass der Keshe gesagt hat, dass wenn man mit Elektrizität in den Gänsen sozusagen das da reinführt, könnte man schon etwas anderes produzieren, was nicht ganz ist.
Da ich Versorgung durch Magravs und durch diese Feld geführt habe, vermute ich, das ist nicht der Fall.
Okay. He believes that through his interaction of these Magrav units, which he has made specifically for this field interaction purpose, that the electricity would not be electricity as we understand it in the matter state, but more in the plasmatic condition. That is his presumption.
Es wäre notwendig, dass mehrere sowas machen und Austausch, das ist erstmal der Anfang. Ich habe den Weg gezeigt und ihr solltet vielleicht selbst die Erfahrung machen.
Yeah, okay. He would like more people to attempt to do similar experiments and to bring the knowledge out that it may be shared amongst all the knowledge seekers and students, and that this is only the beginning, as he is seemingly the only one who has done an experiment of this type, and welcomes more students to follow in similar footsteps.
Guys, I've done something like this several years ago. I don't know how to. Rick, can you put a file into the chat, or have I got to do it in the student chat?
Okay,
you can only put a link in the chat in the room here now. You know, in our Zoom chat.
So look, what I'll do is I'll post something. I actually know what he's doing. I get it, and there's some very advanced work that's going on here. I don't know whether if you guys, just while I'm doing that, go back and have a look at some of those. You'll see faces even starting to form in the jars. So just look. He's very beautiful. And I just want to. What I want to do is I want to simplify things so that everybody can do it, because I've already done this. And then what, in a way, something that I show you might even shock you.
May I translate quickly?
It's a lot simpler than what you think. This is very elaborate, but I can show an easy, simple way to do it. So I'll let you.
Brad, let him translate that.
Der Brett meint, dass so für eine Experiment schon vor ein paar Jahren gemacht hat, und er erkennt, was sie hier gemacht haben, und sagt, dass es ein ganz kompliziertes Setup ist und dass er in eine andere Fashion das Gleiche gemacht hat und möchte vielleicht, wenn es geht, so dass wie sagt man das, eine Wirkung zeigen kann, womit wir alle das besser verstehen können und vielleicht auch noch weitermachen.
Ich habe nicht ganz verstanden.
Der Brett meinte einfach, dass er schon irgendwie in diese...
Dann zum Beispiel die ganze, die ich resublimiert habe, in kleinen Mengen schicken, dass er experimentieren kann. Kann von mir geschenkt bekommen, kannst du ihm sagen.
Okay, yeah. He would like to offer that, Brett, if you would like, he could gift you some of these ganses that he has been able to create, if you would like to work with them and or understand possibly what he has done.
I can only have in my environment what I create. Tell him thank you very much. But okay.
Okay, I'll translate that quickly and then we can jump in. Meint, dass sagt vielen Dank für diesen Offer, aber kann in seinem Environment nur diese Gänse und Sachen haben, dass schon bei sich selber gemacht hat. Und will jetzt ein bisschen weitergehen dabei.
Ich muss sagen, ich höre damit auf. Die Experimente habe ich vor 2 Jahren wiederholt. Ich habe 1,5 Jahre gar nichts gemacht, weil die Sachen, die ich habe, das sind ganz alte Sachen.
Okay, so he's saying now that this was an experiment that he did recently in order to reproduce the experiment that he did 2 years ago when he mixed the fields, and this is a further step that he would like to take.
Yep, I've actually put it into the chat, Rick, into the student chat. You should be able to pick it up. It would have uploaded by now. I just want to say that I understand what he's doing.
Versteht, was sie machen. Das wollte er ganz klar sagen. Und go ahead.
So when you're transferring a field to a field, I just want to if Rick in a moment will just show something, and then I can annotate and I can show so that everybody can comprehend what he's saying. It's a very simple device, and it takes fields out of the bottle and puts.
Ich komme zurück zu meinem ersten Experiment. Meine Frage wäre, wie denkt ihr, was habe ich damals bekommen?
Okay. His question, he says thank you again and understands this, and he wants to come back to his first experiment and asks us what we think he has been able to collect.
I knew this question was coming, and that's why I put into there. So it's a basic understanding. It's just a picture. All right. So if I can explain that, I can answer his question.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay. Er meint, dass wenn er ein Bild hier teilen könnte, und vielleicht hat der Rick schon das Foto oder in dem Chat auf dem, wenn er es auf dem Bildschirm hier machen kann, dann könnte der Brett könnte er uns alle zeigen und erklären in eine ganz einfache Bewegung, was hier passiert ist. Und dabei könnte er auch Ihre Frage antworten.
Das war das ganz erste Video, was wir gesehen haben. Diese Orangebehälter, nein, das ist nicht meine Bilder.
Okay, this is not his photos. This is possibly Brett.
Yes.
Yes, this is the photo that Brett sent me that I think he wants to just show.
So what am I doing here? Jalal wanted to know about this and wanted to hear and understand. So I'm going to annotate a little bit. So what we've done here is that we've got 4 fields which are here.
Shall I translate as we go a little bit?
It's up to him,
that would be good.
I'm
yes.
actually not speaking only, I'm speaking at the level of the soul as well. But it's up to him where he gets it. I can speak just without any words if you wish.
Okay, der Brett meinte hier, dass er auf dem Level von dem Soul spricht. Und da sind hier 4 Fields oder und wenn es er kann erklären mit Wörtern, aber kann auch ohne Wörter erklären. Okay, go ahead, Brett.
Okay, so what we've got here is that essentially what I've done is I've made a gravitational field in. You can put your maggrav onto this, or you can put just 240 volts or whatever you've got in your country. So okay. I've got a gravitational field in.
Okay, er sagt hier, dass er eine gravitationelle Feld hier rein steckt und man könnte hier ihre Maggrav Unit und Generator da reinleiten oder go ahead.
So because I've got a gravitational in, if I have a magnetical, which is like this guy over here, highly magnetical, it's a bottle. If you put a container in here and close it off, you put one pipe to atmosphere and you put another pipe into the GANs. Can I ask him why I would do that?
Haben Sie das hier verstanden oder sollte ich das jetzt auf Deutsch ein bisschen erklären?
Ein bisschen schon erklären, bitte.
Okay, ja, okay, kein Problem. Also in der Mitte, eine Sekunde. Brett, would it be possible to annotate in 2 different colors?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's just say that this is a container. It's closed.
Okay, wir sagen hier, das Gelbe ist ein Feld und okay. Und das ist jetzt mit einem Deckel drauf. Das heißt, da kommt nichts rein und nichts raus. Go ahead.
So my question is, why would I put one from the bottle into the GANs that's in the container and one open to atmosphere?
Okay, die Frage hier, dass er an Sie stellen möchte, ist, warum geht hier eine Leitung von das magnetische Feld, was sich in dem Coca-Cola-Bottle findet, warum machte man sich hier einen Input in dem gravitationellen Feld und ein, wie sagt man, Tube, Sebastian? Eine Leitung oder?
Rohr. Ja, Rohr, Hose.
Rohr, okay. Und warum gibt es jetzt ein Rohr an den Atmosphäre auf der rechten Seite? Das habe ich ganz schlecht jetzt erstellt. Sebastian, kannst du das vielleicht erklären?
Ich vermute, also ich verwende diese Prinzipien bei meinen Magraphs und Generatoraufbau, dass ich richtig Interaktionen vorrufe. Und nehme ich an, hier musste, oder was er machte, war genauso gravitativ und magnetiv Anregung, dass die Felder sich beeinflusst haben.
Da haben Sie im letzten Moment, habe ich das nicht gehört. Kannst du das nochmal sagen?
Die magnetische und gravitationelle Felder, die untereinander sich beeinflussen, dass er vorruft Interaktionen zwischen diesen Feldern.
Okay, so his understanding is the interaction occurs between these 2 fields as the, if you have a lid on the lower box, that the, I would call it the vacuum pressure of the atmosphere draws one into the other and creates a mixing of the fields within the box.
Okay, this is not what's happening.
Okay, das ist nicht, was passiert.
What is happening is you're making, I'll just change my color just for a second. You're making a gravitational field around here.
Wir machen ein gravitationellen Feld hier, in dem.
And then you've got a magnetical field, which is here, whether it's just another GANs or it's a Keshe bottle. Whatever it is that you wish it to be, you are going to attract down into here those fields.
Ich habe nur 10 Minuten, also wenn ihr noch ein Video von mir besprechen wollt, dann 10 Minuten habe ich Zeit, dann muss ich gehen.
Okay, Brett, he's just saying he has 10 minutes left and then he must leave. If there is another video of his that we can share, he would like to do so. He understands what you are trying to show and is happy about it, but if there is another video, he would like to show it.
No problems. It's his show. Thank you, mate. Bye.
Vielen Dank.
Thank you, Brett. Excellent. I'm not sure which other video. We got the end project, but I think we saw that one already.
I can ask him what the name is. Wie haben Sie den File-Name auf das letzte Video? Wissen Sie, was der Rick hier suchen sollte? Er meint, dass wir schon vielleicht alle 4 gesehen haben.
Sag mal bitte, Rick, ich schicke ihm separat 3 oder 4 Videos, wo die Punkte, wo das zeigen, dass Rick ohne mich schon, er kann es zeigen und vorführen, das, worüber wir gesprochen haben.
Und auf welchen Service haben Sie das an den Rick hier gesendet?
Ich hatte das bei Facebook, aber ich schicke Rick per Mail noch 3 Videos, dass er euch nächste Mal zeigt. Ich werde nicht dabei sein, aber Rick kann euch vorzeigen, dass Verständnis bei euch größer wird.
Okay, und das wird dann jetzt bei E-Mail geschickt?
Ja.
Okay, so Rick, he's going to send you via email 3 more videos, which could be shown at a later date to further our understanding. Whether or not he is present may not be important. And he just wanted to reiterate that the video that you may be looking for is the one that was sent over Facebook, which explains why we haven't possibly seen it, because it would have been the one that you were talking about earlier.
Right, yeah, okay.
Und wenn Rick noch letzte zeigt, dann hätten wir für heute geschafft.
Okay, if possible, Rick, if you want to show it, even if in its small form, then we will have had today complete.
Okay, I will try to find that again.
Okay, einen Moment, er sucht jetzt Facebook-Land, das Video zu zeigen. Vielleicht können Sie das Video auch an den Rick bei E-Mail auch noch senden, wenn es bei Facebook zu klein.
Okay. Weil wir haben 3 Sachen besprochen, aber ich habe 4 Rick geschickt. 1 musste noch haben, was nicht gezeigt wurde.
Okay, ja, das sage ich Ihnen. So there's a good chance, he said, that we've seen 3 of the videos. There's 1 left, and he says that's already been sent. So perhaps there is one that looks the same as another one, but isn't.
Maybe this one.
Hat heute von mir per Mail bekommen 4 Sachen.
Ach so, okay. He said today you received by email 4 things.
Von Spaceship Institute, Spaceship Institute.
At the Spaceship Institute email, I presume.
Yeah, we showed those.
You showed all 4 then, I guess. But he seems to think that there's only 3 that have been shown.
Okay, I can show you the ones we have here. I can't because it shows all my desktop stuff. How can I do it?
Wir waren eine fleißige Gruppe mit Thomas Duby aus London.
There was a good group with Thomas Duby from London.
Wir haben sehr viele interessante Experimente gemacht.
They did a lot of exciting experiments.
Und die Gruppe wurde zerschlagen. Und das sind die ganze, die ich separiert habe.
Okay, so here we see the different types of separated out ganses. So this looks like the one.
Okay, this is from Facebook. I'll try to play it.
Es waren aus den 4 Grund, erstmal 16 konnte ich unterschiedlich aus separieren. Man kann streiten, ob das Ganze sind, ob das vielleicht Marmelade oder Jam ist.
Okay. He says here, this is the 16 different kinds of ganses that he was able to separate from the experiment. And we can argue whether or not they are actually made of jam and not gams.
Vom Schwarz, also die Farben sprechen aus sich. Es waren 4 unterschiedliche Rotbezeichnungen, also richtig, wenn man sieht. Und auch die grüne Flüssigkeit über CH3, da.
Ja, okay.
Und Und ich nehme an, da links wäre meines Erachtens ZNO, weil ich rate so. Also das ist das, was mir gelungen ist, separat zu bekommen.
Okay, so what we can see here is a multitude of different reds that seem to have been produced from these GANs types. Very interesting for him was the
rechts oben ist ganz schwarz.
Okay, the top right one is very black. And he seemed interested also in the one type of GANs which happened to be green sitting on top of red, which seems strange or different at least.
Hi, I noticed top of iron is influence. It's covered with plastic, but you have the iron top. It influence the GANs.
Oh, the lid. Do you mean the lid on the jars?
Top of the top of jars.
The top of the container is made from iron, so it may have influenced. Ah, okay.
Yes, I noticed it.
Ja, meint hier, dass es vielleicht, dass die, oh gosh, wie sagt man, der lid, oh man, I'm losing my German as I'm getting tired here. I think someone else may jump in, but meint, dass vielleicht diesen Feld von dem Eisen in den Deckel, danke. Dass der Deckel vielleicht in dem GANs etwas verändert hat.
Interact field of iron with the GANs.
Du kannst ihm sagen, da sind frisch, ich habe das resublimiert und gleich Foto gemacht und die Deckel sind, die Eisen vom Deckel sind mit Kunststoff beschichtet, weil Lebensmittelindustrie ist streng genormt. Man darf keine Metalle direkt an Lebensmittel. Erkläre ihm das.
Okay, yeah, kann ich sagen. So he is suggesting here that that this is likely not the case because the coating that has been applied to the underside or the inside of the jar lid, which would be for containing food. And so if this was damaged in any way, that it would be not possible to keep food within that container. So he doesn't believe that it's an iron interaction.
Okay, sometimes with caustic or salt, it will corrode that.
One more. It's a fresh jars, he says. This photo was taken right after having put them into the container.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Okay.
Da sind nicht gewaschene. Aha, ich muss ein Wichtiges noch sagen.
One more thing is important, he must add.
Die ganze, die ich genommen habe, die waren nicht gewaschen, die waren mit Resten von Salz noch. Das heißt, die nicht gewaschenen Salze sind viel, viel stärker.
Okay. None of these ganses have been washed, so they still contain their salts, and he says that that's an important point to note, and that these ganses, before the washing process has happened, that they are very much stronger than they would be after.
But when you have the field of iron, nano-coat iron, is not interact like a plasma with other plasma.
Can you repeat that? Just in a way that I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, when you have the field of nano iron, no, because it's nano-coat, this top in certain times. Mm-hmm. You have the interaction of nano iron with the GANs and the water inside.
Tut mir leid, ich muss schon gehen. Mein Termin ist zu Ende jetzt, aber ich werde noch Material Rick weiterzusenden. Ich bedanke mich herzlich und ich wünsche euch einen schönen Tag.
Okay, vielen Dank. Ich sage Ihnen, he must go now. He has an appointment. Unfortunately, he can't stay any longer. He would like to thank everyone very much. He's going to send further documentation or videos or photos and would appreciate to do this again at another date and or jump in another session.
Sure, that would be terrific. Thank you very, very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you again here.
And he's already gone.
Okay. Well, that was very interesting.
Indeed, and I think I'm going to do the same. My appointment is with my bed, not with any people.
And I thank you, Nikolai, for your perseverance and your clarity for the translation. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It's not what I was expecting to do today. I almost entirely forgot that this class is even happening, and I came out of a meditation, and it was the perfect thing to do. So there you go.
Maybe that's why you were so clear.
I think there was something to it. I was in a state for about an hour, so there, and I haven't spoken German with anyone in maybe 4 years. So things came together well.
Yeah, you didn't skip a beat hardly there, so thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. And Brett, I did very much want to get into what you were trying to explain with him, and I believe it was just not enough time in the session to really go into that, but he did appreciate what you were saying, and he was very, how do I put it, very appreciative that there are other people that are knowing what he has done and to further the knowledge.
It's understood. It was beautiful. I really liked what he's been doing. And if you guys ever get a chance to go through this video again and then go back, and you can even see faces and things forming in those jars. He is more advanced than what you think.
That's what he was also trying to express in several times, where I may have translated poorly, but he said this is more to do with the interaction than we are seeing in the photos that, you know, look like muck, as he said.
Yeah, but I agree. But he can, how can I say this? If he fully understands what he's doing, and it's so simple because it's just one field feeds another field. And if you put another field on the end of that, and another field on the end of that, and another field on the end of that, you can end up with anything that you wish because you have created it. You have to understand, in a way, what you want to create. So I think his creations were really beautiful to me, and I love his work. It's amazing to see. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I would only add to that I think his experiment, and I may be wrong in saying this, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it seems to me that this was a way of confirming his prior experiment, which happened so long ago that he now had some either new understanding, but also was trying to replicate a previous experiment, which may have limited him from doing something specific and asking for a specific GANs or a specific interaction to occur.
I know.
Okay.
I replicate my work from 10 years ago, and with the knowledge that I have, I'm finding it very difficult because it doesn't fit the current paradigm. And in the coming weeks, I'll let you see where I've come from as to where I'm going, and it's a completely different shift, even within a couple of years of where I thought I would be, and that's, I don't know what to say. So
magic, maybe.
No.
The progression of magic, perhaps. That's maybe what I meant.
It's the progression of the soul of the physicality that's starting to catch up with the actual soul itself. So there's this huge growth period that we go through in that catching up. And the more than you can show the feelings and the thought, the quicker you kind of catch up. It's really strange. It's not like what everybody thinks. You know, getting through a level of evolution doesn't mean that you're more advanced. It means that you're in a way you're worse off because you can give, but it's hard to take. So does that make sense, that those words? It's easy to give, but it's hard to take. So this is multi-dimensional in that one field is going one way, the other field is going the other. And when you realize that there's another field going the other way and another field going the other way, and you start to explore them, what happens is that all of these things start to open up, but you don't understand it. You don't know what to do with it. And, you know, Rick, the other day when we were looking at those hieroglyphs, somehow I was able to tap into the consciousness of the planet and go back, and because everybody was concentrated on the one thought, when everybody's concentrated on the one thought, I can get things from the consciousness of the planet, which is that information is just there. But I can't do it myself. I need all of you to do it. So even if it's with his work and we're all concentrating on the same thing, I can get the essence of what he's trying to do and what he understands. It's really strange. I can't explain it. But if we're all concentrated on one thing, then the information comes, and you can try this. I hope that all of you guys understand what I'm saying, is that when you want to concentrate on something and you want an answer, if we all concentrate on the answer, I can give you the answer. That's one of the things about being telepathic, is you kind of, you can tap into this area that I've never known that was. So I'm just exploring it. I'm at the beginning of it. So in a way, if everybody concentrates on the same thing and wants to understand it together as a group, on the one thought, the answers just come to me. Anything you want to know, let's try it. Let's experiment a little bit, just like he is. The soul doesn't work the way that we're all just integrated. We're all one. And the way that you open up to that and how you feel about letting those thoughts and feelings in, you formulate a thought, and that then turns into an action. So I guess what I'm tagging here is that when we all have the same thought, we can do so much, we can open up so much. And we can do it. You and I, everybody here, we can do it. We can open up these thoughts if we just concentrate on the one thing and understand what we wish to get out of it so that it's not, you can't get blood out of a stone, but you can get feeling from it. So this is the transgression that I guess Mr. Keshe has always tried to put to us, is that it's the thought becomes a feeling, becomes an action. And every single one of us is responsible for our own thoughts, our own creation, and our own reaction. And what I've learned is how to try to rein those in so that I become not negative or not positive. I become equal. And in that process, I always become transparent so that, in a way, you can hear me. Because I'm trying to always rein in those thoughts so that they're not positive, they're not negative, they're just neutral. And the information that came in today was strong and fast, very beautiful. So I have to take that information and then I need to wind it down. Slowly, 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 slowly. I understand, and where I don't understand, I need to look at. So when information is presented to you, you have a thought about it. But if you do not think about it, you cannot make that information yours. At any point, you cannot make the information yours unless you understand it. And what was given us to us today was just huge. And that's why I put the box up, because it's so simple. You're creating a gravitational field, you're creating a magnetical field, you put whatever GANs you want into the center of that, and you attract the field into it. So what do you want to make? To make a GANs of CO2 and put the Coke bottle onto the top of that, you get something so strong, you probably won't be able to live with it in your environment. You have to put it outside. If you do it with seawater, oh, jeez, then you find out what fields are about. What he was explaining, in a way, was that you have a gravitational field and a magnetical field. You take from one, you give to the other. But it's not, it's a field. Where the Coke bottle is, if you put CO2 and CH3 in the center of the box, exactly the same thing will happen to what he said. Because it's just a GANs that you've shared the fields with. You've attracted the fields of the CH3 into the CO2. If you put something in the bottle, like the bottle is magnetical, it's acidic. So if you put GANs of CO2 inside a bottle, meaning like a jar, and one of the things that I asked was, and here's the kicker, why did I ask him why one pipe would be at atmosphere and the other pipe going into the GANs? Is because you're attracting the fields of everything around you into the box. It's a kicker, isn't it? So the Coke bottle doesn't need to be open The Coke bottle goes into the glass jar that's inside of these things and goes down into the GANs that you want it to go into. You created a gravitational field, and then you've opened one side of it to atmosphere, so that the atmosphere can give, the fields of creation can give to it. And then if you put thought, far out, guys. The thought is the love. That's all it is. You love it. You love your creation. And oh my God, a gravitational GANs becomes just as magnetical. And then comes the question, how the goddamn hell do you use it? So this is one of the things that my friend was lucky in a way, is how do you use it? How do you create something, know what you've created, then know how to use it? And this Jalal, my fine feathered, most loved friend, is where everything, imagine you had two walls, and one was on one side and one was on the other. And you wanted to put two Ganses on either side, and you wanted to pull something specific from the human body. You knew what the strength was, you created the GANs of it, and then you made a magnetical gravitational version of it, and then just the gravitational version of it. What will happen when you stand between the two walls? What's it going to pull from you? What have you set it up to do? And this is why these beautiful doctors within the foundation are very successful, is they've understood, in a way, how to create a gravitational magnetical GANs and a gravitational version of it.
So now you have the fields, gravitational, and you have the fields of magnetical.
Yeah, and then if you use the bottle, which has got the atomic hydrogen in it, I mean, you use the same GANs. So if you took half of your GANs and then half of your other GANs, right, and then you made one highly gravitational magnetical and the other is still gravitational, it's going to want to act against the other and equalize.
Okay, did you try to make GANs without GANs?
Ah, yeah. I did that years ago, you know that.
Yeah, I know that.
So I absolutely understand what the gentleman was saying, is the secondary GANs are very powerful, but you need to know how to use them. You can't use them on the human body. They're too strong unless you really understand what you're doing. You would never use a secondary GANs. Nor would you ever use a GANs like this that I'm showing you how to make, unless you know what you're going to do with it, which to me, what happens, I'll tell you a secret. Here's the secret. So say you've got a container here. Hang on. So say there's a container in here. All right. And it goes to the bottle. I'm making a gravitational force here, and I put some CO2 in the bottom of it, and this water has a salt content which is approximately that of the human body, so it matches. And you modified your salts so that there are 3 other salts in there as well as normal salts. and you put the bottle on it and you poured some GANs in there that's been washed already, for instance. So say it's CO2, it's highly gravitational already. It's already in the gravitational state. By linking these guys here and creating a gravitational field, you're going to pull the fields out of the bottle and into the GANs. But here's the kicker. The water is worth its weight in gold. And this is what nobody understands. The water is worth its weight in gold. Because if you take that water and dry it, it forms a type of crystal. And the type of crystal that it forms tells you what you have created. So you dry it. You take the water from what you've created and you dry it. It'll turn into a certain pattern. And that's the kicker, is that you can see, you can feel, you can always go to the other, which is when you dry it, the salt turns into it has a certain form. So there's a process of understanding here, is taking what you've done and then taking the salt from it and drying it, allowing that drying process, and that will form a certain shape of crystal. So from the shape in the crystal, you can kind of understand what it is that you've created. And that's my message for today, is that the salt water itself, when you dry it, will turn into a certain crystal shape. And if you understand what Mario's been talking about and you look at the crystalline structure of a piece of ice, and that's very similar to the flower of life, then if you make a GANs and you dry the water, you can look at it and go, hey, I'm getting close. So therefore, your path is assured through the understanding of creation, that you create this with this salt, you create this with this metal or atoms, or whichever way that you wish to look at it. So the drying of the water is the key, because you can see when you're getting close to creation. Because when you make it, like I have, but just with CO2 in the bottle, you get a square, a big square crystal, and there's all these planets around it. I'm nowhere near it because it's not round. And the planets are not forming around it. It's a square. So, but then again, when you think about it, that's exactly what I need. Because if I've got a square and there's a circle there and there's a triangle here, and we spin those reactors up, they're going to want to equalize. So who'd have thought that we'd be able to tell from the crystallization of the salt that so much can be learned from what we're doing. And this is my message for tonight. And thank you, guys. This is something that I learned a couple of years ago. So
only one question, Brad. Is that with CO2 or without CO2 on the bottom?
Oh, no CO2 in the bottle. No. Your CO2 goes inside the box.
Yeah.
So
I in the bottom, I said, not in the bottle. I said, okay, Is that with CO2 or without CO2?
You can use any GANs you wish. If you want to enrich hydrogen itself with atomic hydrogen, say you made H2 and you wanted to put atomic hydrogen to it, use the same process. It's not limited to, it's just you're creating a gravitational field for the magnetical field to go towards it, to move towards it. And it does. And what comes out of it is highly magnetical and gravitational. So that CO2 is hard to leave it. It was too much for me the last time I made it. I'm going to make it again though. But it was too hard for me to feel the fields of that because it was.
Okay, what about if you change the environment? What about if you make the environment, all of it is hydrogen?
Yes, I've got another thing to teach you. Guess what? What I found is if I see where I'm drawing here, if I put a sheet of metal in there and another one in here and another one in this side and another one in this side, oh my God, the GANs is completely changed. And the other thing that I have to give you, my brother, is if you just put those 4 plates, forget about this, and just put an empty ball in here, in the middle. I changed my color. Hang on. You put just an empty ball in the middle, and then you put GANs here, and here, and here, and here. The ball, you hold it in your hands, and you can feel the fields of everything that you put around it. So if it was CO2, CH3, CuO, the normal 4 GANs, if you take this ball and put it in your hands, you can feel every one of those GANs in the ball. Every single one of them. You put a banana here and an apple here and a kiwi fruit here and an orange here. You hold the ball in your hand, you can taste every one of them. So everything that's on the outside comes into the inside. And this is why you would always in your box have a vent to atmosphere. So you let the fields that you put around this centralize themselves in this, and they've got a way back. So this hose would just come down near the ball. You put a glass container around it, and you put your bananas and all of those sorts of fruits around it. You've created a container around a container. If you put GANs into this, you'd get a completely different outcome in the ball. If you put GANs of CO2 or GANs of zinc into that, you put the memory of everything that you put around it, and you've allowed the fields of the universe to come into it. You got no idea what you could hold, mate. These things last. I've got balls that are a year old, and they're very metallic because they're from when I just put sheets of metal in around this box, and I pick them up, and they still feel exactly the same. The field has not dissipated in any way, shape, or form. So if you want to put a banana into a ball, it's easy peasy Chinesey. You understand what I've done here? How do you clear that, Rick? I'm pressing the clear button, but Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you for your
Any
explanation.
questions? Anybody doesn't understand about how to put a field into a ball, and that everything around you, you wonder somehow how I'm creating the things that you guys have gone through. It's not me. It's you. You're around me. The same as this box. It's the same thing. You feel what I feel if I want to give it to you. And it's the same thing. You can put 2 coils and you see how this thing, the electric motor. Can anybody explain to me what that is for?
I did wonder about that myself. Maybe Armin has an explanation. He seems to be trying to come through on his microphone here.
Mwah!
Armin?
I just was listening, and one question: why do you think the GANs have only certain GANs have gravitational and certain GANs have magnetical?
Brett, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, this is because both of them have both. But by creating a magnetical field that's in a higher strength than the gravitational field, I mean, a gravitational field that's higher in the strength than the magnetical field, one flows to the other.
Excuse me, Armin, you're eating your microphone or something.
Can I annotate, please?
Yeah, you need to adjust your microphone so it doesn't come through as a crunchy cereal sound.
How about now?
It's okay right now, but are you touching it, or is it touching part of your clothes, body, or something?
Okay.
A lot of noise coming through.
How about now? Now is okay?
Yeah, well, I think so. It's still clunking a bit there, but seems better. Okay, so you want to annotate, you say? Okay,
Yes.
There you go, it seems.
Look, if you consider that each GANs, they have a magnetical and they have a gravitational. When you create, let's say, higher strength and lower strength, now this is the gravitational. And this is the magnetical. When you say I create a GANs and it's more magnetical and the other one is more gravitational, how you define that? Every GANs you created, it's gravitational and magnetical. You cannot say one GANs is more gravitational and the other one is more magnetical. If it's strength difference, yes. But they both have both polarities. It's not one-way traffic. Second of all, the picture that you showed, the Coca-Cola bottle, and you have your parachute inside. Connect this to this one, that you create the flow with different metal, aluminum or anything else. Or connect a small LED. When you create, when you have your CO2 boxes, when you connect the LED, you create a gravitational pull in these plates. So when you connect this, now you have working fields. So you can disorient the carbon that the hydrogen can be released. That's why from the neck, this neck that you see, it will go in a week. Then you can release your hydrogen and collect it.
I've learned also, Armand, that you got to have an opening so that creation can come in. So
what opening?
Oh, okay.
When you say opening, what you mean?
Yeah, meaning that whatever I can't annotate, but if you jar at the top right there.
No, this is the bottle, Coca-Cola bottle.
I know that. And the one to the right, yeah, it needs an opening to creation.
No.
An extra pipe, you mean?
No. You just can put another pipe right on top and put another bottle in here. Do not do this way. So.
Why? It's because create the fields of the environment.
No. This has nothing to do with the environment.
Okay.
Okay, just understand the process. When you have this nano-coated material inside, when you connect this, now you create the flow. Now you create a carbon field that you can disorient the molecules of carbon in a Coca-Cola bottle, that you can release the hydrogen. That's why you see the neck, because it's more thicker. So this is all gone in a few days. Do the right way. When you do, and do with your understanding what you are doing, what you are creating. Because the nano layers that you create, it has a carbon structure. So you match the carbon in a Coca-Cola bottle, which you affected now. So that's why you see it disappears after a while. Do you understand? Or I have to explain more deeper? Maybe different way.
Armand, and you say that the hydrogen remains in the bottle, or it makes
hydrogen. Look, it's a CH bond, huh? When you release, you absorb the carbon, what hydrogen will be released? It's a bond. You're disorienting the carbon, so hydrogen is free. There are different ways to do that. I'll teach you a different way. How about you put the salt, 50%, and 50% sugar mix it in a what? What is sugar? CH bond. Now it's available in your environment to convert. When you make your CH3. Silence?
Yeah, I get it. I think it's just so beautiful that.
No, you understand. You create what you have in your environment. What materials you have in your environment. Your box is CH bond.
Yeah.
Correct.
I understand what you're saying, and you've taught me something very valuable tonight, and I really thank you.
You're welcome. And when you have these coils, if you put the metal inside and outside is different. When you're talking about metal sheets. Before or after? I'll let you to think about that. But each gas you create, they have both polarities, magnetical and gravitational. Plus and minus. Just understand, if you have a magnet, let me explain it differently. If you have a magnet, ring magnet, what do you think? It has a gravitational or magnetical?
Both.
Both. If I have a small magnet and a big magnet, so which one is going to be more stronger? It's the same thing. Mass of your GANs and small mass of your GANs, it creates the flow.
Can I say here, Armin, that also that this applies to a stronger field or a weaker field? It doesn't really matter what it is. It's a stronger or a weaker field, yeah?
Correct. But this one has a stronger gravitational.
And hence why my box make a stronger gravitational field.
What is it?
Suck anything into it.
No. You have to create a condition. It depends what you want to suck.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, gravitize.
Well, I guess in a funny way of understanding here is that if you put different ganses on either side of those coils, you create a different field. And that's what I found, is even creating the fields within the balls and then feeling them with my hand.
Let me explain you one thing. Each material, each GANs you have, it's a package of energy. Consider that way to more simplify for yourself to understand. Different strength. Because carbon and let's say copper, only strength is different.
Armin, could you move the microphone away from your mouth a bit?
Sure, okay.
Hear you breathing quite strongly. Thank you.
You certainly have a short breath.
No, I'm smoking, that's why.
He just loves us.
So this is less strength. This is higher strength.
Okay, I understand the higher strength to the lower strength. But now you're making me question my box, personally, myself, because if I'm what I'm trying to do is modify the environment so that you can take anything from one field to another. So if you wanted to create another box beside that one, you could create a magnetical field, and then you've got a gravitational field. So you can move one to the other because you've created a different environment. So one field would want to equalize with the other field. The same as if you had a GANs on top of the box or a bottle or whatever. I was trying to create a differential between the fields and create an environment that I can add anything I want to whatever field that I put into the container and the things that I put around it.
But,
so I'm not getting it.
But what you want to create, what you want to absorb.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what I was saying earlier on. You have to need to know what you want to create. You have there can be no ambiguity between what you're wishing to create. You have to understand what you're trying to do.
No, sometimes you specify what you want to create. Even in that, you have to consider what you have in your environment. Even in the water, yeah, I referred it that mix 50% sugar, 50% salt. Why?
Because the carbon atom becomes...
No, because you bring the materials that you want to, let's say if I want to create CH3, I bring into my environment hydrogen.
I've only ever used like a small amount of sugar in any of my ganses. Maybe 5%. That's the maximum that I've ever used. You're saying 50%?
Mm-hmm. Look, you have to understand one thing. You bring into the environment the material for conversion. If you put 5%, or 50%. It's a big of a difference, huh?
Isn't that the energy control?
No, it's not energy control. Material. It's a guys.
Fields, yeah.
You in a Coca-Cola bottle, you have CH bond. You put the caustic in here, in this, and you put your parachute and you nano-coated it. What's caustic? When you use the material, understand what you're using it.
NaOH.
Uh-huh. Na is a salt, oxygen, and hydrogen. Yeah.
And bond carbon from plastic.
So you still have a carbon from the plastic, but when you nano-coat, that your nanomaterial you have, if you create it right, you will see shiny black color.
Sorry.
When you connect this together, you create a field of the carbon, which you can disorient it now because now in the plasma state. So that's why you release the hydrogen. You break the bond.
In this manner, it's possible nano-coat this oxygen and this hydrogen from plastic and from salt water. Create nano-coat hydrogen with hydrogen, or nano-coat oxygen with oxygen.
It's not that, guys. You know, the bond, CH bond, it's a plastic. So you affect carbon directly. So the hydrogen will be released. Why this neck is gone? Without connecting it together, you're not going to have anything. Small aluminum wire or different wire.
The moment you connect the multimeter to your parachutes, you're producing the same effect as the lead.
No.
Why? It's too much resistance.
No. This, when you connect the LED, it creates a gravitational pull. Or you connect this with different metal, because nano-coated and different metal, nano and matter. Which one is higher? Which one is lower?
Matter is below, nano is higher, and plasma field, like passing from the matter from plasma, is this melting, this material.
It's pulling.
It's pulling, yes. Is direction of flow?
Direction of flow, it's here. So you create a pull. When you give energy, it's different. When you create This way with LED is totally different. If you understand. Mr. Keshe always saying, when you have your power units, you have to create a gravitational pull to create that suction, to bring the energy in.
And I understand what you're saying. Actually, Rick, I just put another picture in the chat, and you can see a plastic bag that goes around the plates. So within the fields of the 4 coils, I put a plastic bag around the actual zinc that I put in the center of that. So I understand what you're saying. And I can show it so that everybody can understand it. So what I've done is within those 4 fields, I put a plastic bag around the zinc plates.
What for? Every material you put, it's a filter. If the field's, let's say, traveling, you have here one material. So it passes through the field. So it's a filtering. Now, whatever this material is, it has to be that level to pass it through. Don't forget about that.
I understand, but by putting the field of the zinc and putting the GANs around it and then forcing in on it.
You don't have to force.
I know, but it's not a force. It's just a field strength. I'm saying force by trying to describe
describe it
phenomenon.
right.
Yeah, it's a field
right that the others can learn properly.
So I just put the thing in the chat. You will understand when you see it because it's a plastic bag, and what I did is I had the 4 field generators around the outside of it, and then I put a plastic bag around the zinc, and then I filled the container with the GANs that I wanted to take the fields from the bottle into the no. Is that the one I sent you?
It's like galvanized iron, like Mr. Keshe is saying.
Yes.
It's a filter. No, you have a zinc inside, field or matter is not important. Yeah. And outside you have another another plasma. It's like a filter. It's like interact inside and outside. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I asking.
No. Yeah. See, the way that I see it is that when I place that thing on top right into there and I put GANs on the outside of it, they don't come into contact with it. It's only a field interaction. So what I'm trying to do is create an environment where the GANs and what I've found, might sound strange, but when you put different GANs on the outside of these coils, and they can't come in contact with that, you make a GANs of each and every thing that you put around it. If you want to put a banana, you make a GANs of banana, an apple, whatever that you want to put into it. But the reason that the zinc is shielded is so that there's no actual physical interaction between the zinc and the water, GANs, salt water, whatever that you want to you want to put into there. This is what I'm saying. I comprehend what you're saying, and I've done it in a simple experiment. As I said, you put
when you bring anything near, you have already in a plasma condition, so you have an interaction. Doesn't matter.
I know that's what I'm saying. You even put metal plates around the outside of it, which is really harsh, and you cuddle the ball. It doesn't feel very nice. But if you put bananas and apples and fruit on the other side in those gaps on the right-hand side and the left-hand side and each end, you put fruit into there and you put an empty ball into it, you hold it in your hands, you can feel the flavor of whatever you put in there. And that's why I covered that zinc, is because the GANs that I wanted to put into that was actually a secondary GANs. It wasn't a primary, it was a secondary GANs that I was trying to affect. So it could never, ever, ever come in contact with the matter state.
Yes.
It's only the field of it, yeah.
Can I annotate?
Yep.
I'm going to be 5 minutes because it's almost 3 o'clock, so I have to go to sleep in the morning. I have to wake up early. But 5 minutes, I explain you one thing.
Mwah.
Okay. Can I annotate, please? Look, when you have a cup of life, and it's nano-coated, 2 different nano-coating inside and outside. When you touch with your hand, the information, whatever your body needs, it's already in a plasma condition, so you absorb. It's like a black hole. When you touch the cup, when you grab the cup with your fingers, you create a condition, whatever you need, you absorb. That's why you just put simple water, that you have all the energies, whatever your body needs. You don't need to complicate yourself. Each GANs, consider it's an energy pack. It has a center. Even you can do specific, but am I gonna, because it's gonna take a little bit longer. I'm really tired, guys. It's 3 o'clock and I have to wake up 6. I'll let next teaching, maybe I will explain more. Okay. Just I brought this cup only for one reason, to you to understand. You don't need this many elements that you are creating if you are not doing something specific. Because you are using anyway the energy of the GANs, not the GANs. Anyway, good night.
This is what you're going to explain next week?
Yes. Why not?
No, I was meaning you were going to make a special class this week and you postponed it for next week, didn't you?
I did, because if Mr. Keshe, his meetings have no time, so I have to wake up 4 o'clock at night and do 2-3 meetings and go to sleep. So it's hard for me sometimes. Okay.
Have a good sleep.
Thank you, Armin, for everything you do and for dropping by here today for a little teaching.
Thanks.
Some
Good
teaching
night.
and learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Armin. Love you.
Okay. Just get that shared. Oops, didn't work. Oh, that was not good. There we go. Okay. Any other comments or questions, or shall we wrap things up here perhaps? It's coming up on the 4-hour mark. Lots of interesting things came out here. It was lovely presentations we've had. Any other comments or questions?
Rick, don't forget what Signora Caroline saying about list of wish. If you remember well, I don't know what saying from remembering this night workshop.
You're saying you're reminding us about the wishes list. Is that what you're saying?
Last word of Caroline is saying about I don't know what. I'm sorry. From today, it's from private lessons. I mistake. Sorry. It's about from private lesson.
Okay.
Not your workshop. Sorry.
Right. Yep. We have the 1N, 1P, 1R that we just had as well. So I was wondering if that's what you were talking about, but she probably took something from the wishes and is working with that. Okay, I think I'd like to wrap it up then. I know Gatwas usually has a class at this time, so it interrupts with his to have this class too. So if there's nothing else, then let's call it a wrap on this one. And I thank everyone for attending. This is the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. It's been a blast. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you back here next week. If anyone has any presentations, either for the Plasma Reactor Group or something you'd like to present, maybe in the Knowledge Seekers Workshop or in the Testimonials meeting, which will not be until next month, you can send them along to me or to education@kfssi.org. And it's best to have the presentation beforehand so we can make sure it's all clear to go and easy to present. All right. Okay, that's it for now then. And see you all next time around. Okay, I'll stop the live stream.
Thank you very much, Rick.
And we'll end the meeting.